in our text message, I mentioned that, you know, having an excuse to dress up while we are being locked down at home is a nice gesture, whereby, you know, we feel the way we dress. And a lot of times, because no one is looking, you know, we are not presentable. As a result, our mood go down. So I think that it's, you know, it's a good excuse to look good for yourself, and lift up your mood in the name of mental health, isn't it? So I hope that you didn't have to do too much explaining to your family about why you're dressing this way. My daughter was asking, where are you going? I say, here, you know, in my bedroom. Well, welcome to the very final class. You know, yesterday we had two teams. Team one, led by Natsri, together with Dorcas, and team two, led by Asha, together with, you know, three of her teammates, who were invited to my other forum at the Petronas School of Life to give a 20 minutes presentation on mental health. And, you know, as they were presenting, I couldn't help but feel a sense of great pride and emotion that, hey, the children are ready. You know, you know, this group of people are so professional and so well spoken and so profoundly, you know, show a level of profound understanding of mental health and maturity. So, you know, while this is only the fourth week, it seems like we've been together for a long, long time. And so I hope that, you know, whatever we've learned together will be put to good use. So let me recap what has happened. On the first week of our mental health youth champions, we defined the roles of a mental health youth champion. We also spoke about why it is important to talk about mental health. Second week, we spoke about, you know, the relations between COVID-19 and mental health. And then the third week, we talk about, you know, how to provide support, mental health support to your community, how to talk to people about mental health. And the last week, this week, you know, we are here to talk about how to go out to promote the cause of mental health. So I was talking to some of the Team 4 members about how, you know, how easy and yet how difficult the task that they have in front of them, because it is so wide, it is so general. But, you know, I have no doubt that you all would blow us away just as the first three teams did. So no pressure. I can't wait to hear you all speak. So once again, good afternoon to all of you. Good afternoon to Ben from the Australian High Com. Welcome, and thanks for looking so good for everyone. We look forward to the party. So let's start the conversation. Before I go on, right? We would be putting up a link on the chat room right now if Diane is there. Yeah, she's just put up. So we have created a feedback form, yeah, which I hope that you all would take your time to present to provide us with your feedback on what you think, what you have learned, what are the highlights, what are the things that we can do better if we're going to organize any future talks. So with that, you know, you all can copy down the link and do it later. You know, take your time to do it, right? So yes, right now I wouldn't take up too much of your time. I will pass the floor to team number 4. And, you know, I want to say hello to Peter Honey, who have just joined us. Peter, thanks for joining us. Thanks for making this happen. We are in our last class, so yeah, can't wait. Okay.
Excited to be here. Thanks, Shaun.
Fire away, team number 4. So who will be leading the conversation from team number 4?
Hello, everyone.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi. Good afternoon. Hi. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I apologize for sounding like I'm wearing a mask because I'm outside. I'm also not gonna turn on my camera for now because I'm currently outside from home. I just want to start off the presentation. I want to thank you everyone for coming and welcome to all the VIPs. And I'm saying this in general because everyone here is our VIPs. And I want to congratulate everyone as well for coming this far of the webinar. And so without further ado, I would like to invite one of my team members to start off the presentation. Good luck.
Thank you very much. And thanks for joining us despite being outside. So who are you inviting from Team 4 to present?
I would like to invite one of the presenters, which is Bella.
Okay. Hi, Bella. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. I think I won't be able to turn on my camera because it's quite lagging here.
No problem.
So Mr. Shaun already helped us to recap what we have learned on week 1, is it?
Yep.
So next slide. So we will recap what we have learned on week 2. So on week 2, we talk about mental health during COVID. So the MH concerns during COVID is that the detachment from reality due to lack of physical interactions. Then we also get demotivated and we're struggling with anxiety and depression. So team number 2 provide us some tips on how to personally cope with MH. Number 1, use methods such as grounding method and 4 seconds of breathing. What happened to the slides?
Sorry, that was me.
Okay. I was shocked. It's okay. And then number 2, reach out for support from family, friends, community, and teachers. That's for week 2. And then for week 3, okay. Team number 3, talk about mental health support. Practical tips on how to provide support. We must be empathetic, not just sympathetic. Be an active listener. We listen, we reassure and validate their feelings. We also have to build relationships, reliability, and trust. We have to show them that we are there to listen. And just by simply showing that you care, by asking, are you okay? Or, okay kah kita? Yes. And then for week 4, for my team and I, we will help you on how to be an advocate for mental health. Our contents consist of how to start a movement by reading, following, nurturing, and growing. And then we will understand advocacy and action by acting, contributing, supporting, and attracting. And how to help someone with depression by listening, respecting, empathizing, and understanding. So my team and I actually conducted 3 different activities, which is before this session, and later on during this session, and then after the session, probably I think tomorrow or Monday. So I'll pass the talk to the next presenter.
Okay, thank you, Bella, for the introduction. Now, before we proceed to our team activity, I'd first like to show everyone the statistics to better understand why is it that we need to advocate for mental wellness through activities. So, can I? move the slides. Oh, sorry, my bad. I am very IT illiterate. Okay, so here we go. So previously, week 2 team gave us solid numbers through their survey in which they demonstrated how there are more people feeling stressed out and depressed than they are feeling happy and having mixed feelings. Now that was in week 2. So we wanted to see if the general public still shares that sentiment in week 4. So we asked our participants in our survey how they were feeling. And as you can see, the numbers are overwhelming in a sense that there are more people feeling negative than they do feel positive. But positive people feeling positive don't lag so much behind by only 8%, and only 4% feel very positive or very negative, and most of them feel average. So why is it that they feel that way? So that's what we wanted to look at. So what could possibly be the reason for this response? We included several factors that we think might have contributed to them feeling like this. It's not holistic, so our list is non-exhaustive, but these are some of the things that we thought could have contributed to them feeling as such. So as you can see, majority of them felt that they were not as productive as before. And after that, most of them felt that they were not as physically or socially active. Some people agreed they did not feel much difference, and only 10% felt others. Others here elaborated that they felt better, more productive, or have experienced better mental health situation. So next. So we asked our participants how these changes or lack thereof has affected their mental health. And as you can see, the responses are rather overwhelming. I've posted some quotes on the screen that you can read. And from here, we can identify a few common themes. Some of them felt stressed out, frustration, and depressed, as well as how lack of social interaction have resulted in them feeling more isolated than ever. So those are the ones bolded in red. So what is the connection between loneliness and mental health? We did our study, and here, because it took up too much space, we only referred to 2 studies. So Carl and Dugan in 2012 said that feelings of loneliness has been associated with depressive symptoms. And Lotz et al. Mentioned how, aside from experiencing depressive symptoms, other effects also include internalizing symptoms in which you do not express yourself or you just keep it inside you, and also suicidal ideation. And the current situation in which we are in, COVID-19 pandemic, has enforced us to isolate ourselves from others. And now we're currently in a lockdown. So why is this situation detrimental to us? A study by Lotz et al. Talked about how enforced isolation can actually increase higher levels of post-traumatic stress. And because of this, we will probably require therapy 5 times than normal. And because of this, how we're forced in a lockdown, it can also be particularly problematic for the youth, which is people who are in this age range, normally 15 to 24 to 45, normally.
Farag?
Yes?
I just wanted to comment very quickly. Yes. If you go back 2 slides, there is the chart before and after. Yeah, and all of your comment is about, so what you're saying there in the 2 charts is that it has gotten worse, after 2 weeks, right?
Yes. Rather than saying it's gotten worse, there's not much changes in how people have felt. But to be fair, our participants in week 4 are not the same as the participants in week 2. Yeah, so there's no way of evaluating whether or not they've gotten better or worse. But the numbers are there to demonstrate that people still share this sentiment in week 4.
I think that what is really interesting to note here, if you go to the comments.
Yes.
I've quickly glanced through. Next slide, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, what is really interesting here is that what I found absent is, the lack of certainty about the future is, I think, one of the main concern that everyone have. So it wouldn't be surprising after 4 weeks or right now 8 weeks of the lockdown, people feel worse because you don't see light at the tunnel.
Sure.
During the first 2 weeks, we're thinking that, hey, it's maybe only 2 weeks, right?
Yes.
So I think that is something that is worth noting, that, hey, if we are certain about the future, the way we feel right now may be quite different.
That's definitely true. It's something that we have to consider. And notice how most of them talk about social interaction in week 4. I think, how many weeks has it been since we've gone down into Operasi Pulih, in which we have a more restricted lockdown where we're not allowed to go out from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. But the numbers have not changed. In fact, at one point, it's even worse. Yes, that's why. So in that, yeah, that's why people are not seeing how things are going to improve anytime soon, and because of that, it's sort of manifested into heavier feelings where they fear that this could result in loss of social interaction, and it's resulted in isolation and feeling detached.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, points taken and well said.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No worries. Thank you for the question.
Thanks.
Where was I just now? I think I talked about, oh yes, what are the activities? So what can we do to alleviate the situation now that we know the gravity of taking care of our mental health? So there are several things that we can do. Again, we referred to several studies, but because there are too many, or because they are too long, we are only going to refer to 2 studies. So Stanescu and Russell talked about the importance of physical activity and how they can reduce symptoms of anxiety and panic attacks, whereas Welton in 2018 talked about the importance of stimulating your creative mind. So that's where you go for walks, go for jogs, take a walk around the museum, and even indulge yourself in creative means of entertaining yourself, such as painting and drawing. Because Dalton 2018 found that these activities can actually help lower your mental health problems and encourage positive mental health. However, Dalton 2018 also noted that not all studies support this notion, because in Dalton's study, apparently out of 12 out of 15 studies, 3 out of 15 studies do not support these results, which means that just because they may prove to be important in managing mental disorders and improving the state of your mental wellness, it's not guaranteed to be effective all the time. So now that we know the importance of physical activities as well as indulging the creative mind, what does the public think about the activities that they think will be more effective for themselves? So we've divided the activities into active leisure activity as well as passive leisure activity. We define the active leisure activity as activities that involve using physical or mental energy. That's when the activities are more intense and vigorous. Whereas passive leisure activity are activities that involve little or no physical or mental energy. So it's more laid back, not too lethargic. You're still working yourself out, but not too much that you're breaking a sweat. So some of the activities that people feel are more suited for active leisure activity include Zumba, exercise, yoga, games, and dancing. Whereas for passive, people are more towards meditation, reading, listening to music, watching movies, as well as arts and crafts. Notice that there are numbers in between those activities. Well, those numbers indicate the percentage of the participants who are willing to engage in these activities. So even though there are research that say these activities will be better to improve yourself, it does not mean that everyone wants to engage in those activities. In fact, less than half of the participants would actually engage in active activities, but more than half, by slight mean, 56% only, would engage themselves in passive leisure activity. So taking into account the kinds of activities that they've already thought of, what are the activities that we decided to throw? So here's what we chose to do. For active leisure activity, we did dance and talk sessions via Zoom, whereas for passive leisure activities, we did draw series, which is an online art platform that's already available in the internet. So that's something that you can engage in if you're interested with your friends. So those activities sound fun, but how effective are they really in the eyes of the public? Here, the numbers are fluctuating. You can see that while there are people who think they're effective, there are still some who hold the benefit of the doubt. For instance, in active leisure activities, some people are still more skeptical, with 4% of them thinking that it's ineffective and 36% of them thinking that it's average. Whereas for passive leisure activity, only 2% think that it will be ineffective and 26% think that it will have average efficacy. So majority of people felt that passive leisure activity will be more effective in comparison to active leisure activity.
That's interesting.
Yes.
So you're actually, conducted all these activities.
We were only able to conduct 2. We wanted to conduct 3 of them, but we thought it might be a bit too much for the participants, and it's going to be harder for them to choose between which activities they want to participate in. So for now, for the purpose of this presentation, we only managed to do 2 activities.
And 2 is substantive and very impressive, I would think. How many people were you all able to get into to do this?
Oh. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to receive a lot of responses for this one. We asked them whether or not they were willing to participate in, and they said yes initially, but after we got back to them, most of them decided to drop out. So we only managed 15 responses altogether. Only 4 people wanted to join the active activity, and 12 people decided to go for the 11 people decided to go for the passive leisure activity.
That's
15 that's not a very great return ratio, unfortunately. Somebody pointed out.
I must applaud you for the effort. Even for event organizer like myself, we all know that getting people involved is a very difficult job. The fact that you're able to, 16 people is a big accomplishment. So well done and congratulations.
Thank you. We were hoping for at least an equal number, but it's great that there are still people who are willing to participate in these activities, even though they have their own opinions of it. So it's great.
I think the reason why passive is more popular than active is simply because it's not easier, isn't it?
I guess
Yes, definitely. Sorry about that. But yes, that's definitely one of the things that we thought could be the reason, is that when it comes to active activities, as we mentioned, we're going to do talk and dance. Not many people are very enthusiastic about sweating, about breaking a sweat, especially when you're being recorded for that matter. So the responses were not as enthusiastic.
Because you're getting people out of their comfort zone.
Exactly, but that's the whole point, is that if they mentioned that they weren't being socially active or as productive as ever, we're hoping that this could be a platform where they can explore other means of interacting and socializing with others, even though they're not actually out there meeting them physically.
This is a noteworthy accomplishment that I must congratulate you once again.
Thank you. My teammates were all very, very engaging and productive. It's all thanks to them.
So I think all of us, team 1, 2, and 3, as well as all the observers, have a lot to learn from you all, because what you have just done is rubber hitting the road. Actually going out there to make things happen as a mental health youth champion. But well done. I'm just so impressed.
Thank you. Hopefully this is the first step to us becoming better advocates in the future.
Yeah, don't be discouraged. 16 is a very good number to start.
Thank you.
And sometimes you get 0, sometimes you get 1 or 2, and it's okay. Keep on going, all right?
That's true. At least we reached out to 16 people. So if we made their day a bit better, that's still an accomplishment.
Oh, absolutely. Even 1 is an accomplishment. Well done.
Thank you so much. We will proceed. I think. Well, okay. Thank you.
I guess what are the
things? Whoa. Sorry about this. Okay, so these are the activities that we conducted. What you're saying now is the active activity. We have two moderators for each activity. So here are our 2 moderators, and the others are participants. And we have asked for their consent, whether or not they're okay with taking pictures and being recorded for the purpose of this presentation. So what you're watching now is not confidential information. Yes.
You thought of everything, Farah.
Yeah, everybody was we had to think things through. Okay, I probably won't be able to play the whole thing because it's quite lengthy, but I will just keep it
for
brief intro.
now is playing games. Since it helped me manage my life for a bit, because it feels controlling a life.
Like you want to control how you want your life to be like.
Yeah, something like that. So
That's a great way to play Sims rather than just playing it for fun. You just want to connect it how your life is in that world.
yeah.
Dancing. I've been dancing for 11 years. Dancing helps me to release my stress and stuff, and it makes me really happy just dancing.
Bagiku makanan lah yang bahagia.
Makan.
Of course, food is everything to everyone.
Mostly banyak tips lah yang penting. Macam baking. Satulah.
Also cooking lah, masak-masak, baking.
I like to draw.
So you're drawing? One of your drawings?
Yes. Can I tour around my...
Yes, please.
This one is my
Oh,
canvas drawing.
You
And
draw
this one,
wow.
pain. I mean pain.
Yes.
Oh!
this one is when I feel down, I draw to express my feelings. So yes, it's my masterpiece and I really like it.
First of all, I would listen to the person, like actually listen to like what problems they have, because sometimes people just want someone to listen to them, and then try my best to give advices if they want to. Like if they need any help or anything, I will try my best to help them. But if they just need someone to listen to them, I'll just sit there and listen.
If they're like,
Okay, I'll have to pause the video there, unfortunately. We can watch it later on if we have the time.
Yes,
But
we have final 10 minutes, so.
Oh, okay. I'll try to keep it brief then. But as you can see, during our activity, we didn't just dance We also talked, which is the bigger factor between the two, if I may add, that really helps us connect with other people. So here we asked them, the previous question, we asked them, what are the 3 things that make you happy? And as you can see, it's better to gauge with the participants on what are the things that they feel can help take away the stress and depression that they might be feeling. So we have various different answers, but it gives a lot of insight as to what people can consider doing. We can base our ideas on what activities to conduct based on those kind of responses. Some choose to draw, some choose to dance it out, some choose just to talk it out as well. So from here, we can already gauge with the participants, and it's nice to know that just by dancing, you can already connect with other people. So that's the active activity that we decided to conduct.
Wow.
Okay, this is the...
Wow. What I learned from the
process.
activities is communication between your friends is important so that they understand what you're drawing.
Nice. Yeah.
I think it's important for me to provide the background of the game. Drawsaurus is an activity where you're given an item and you're supposed to draw it out for other people to guess what it is. So here, majority of the responses will be about communication and how it's important for you to interact and express yourself better so that other people can understand you better. I'm so sorry, but I'll have to rush things through. I think I took too much time. So after we've conducted our activities, naturally, we would like to know more about what they felt about the activities that they couldn't express when we conducted the activities. So we followed it up with a post-activity survey. So this is what we found. When we asked them whether or not they enjoyed the activity, we were able to receive overwhelmingly positive responses. And as you can see, we've quoted some things that they've said. And it's nice to know that we're receiving positive feedback and that the activities actually help them feel better about themselves and the current situation that they're in. So both active leisure activity and passive leisure activity received the most positive review, which is that they enjoyed it a lot, and enjoyed it only received 35% and 9% respectively. And as you can see the reviews, it's nice to know that it's entertaining and that they were able to really socialize with other people and they had fun doing it. So would they consider doing this activity again? Yes, they most definitely will for those in the active leisure activity, and they most definitely and would definitely consider doing it again for those in the passive leisure activity. So that's another way for us to gauge how successful we were in our activities, is that they felt not compelled, but they felt that the activities conducted were attractive enough for them to consider going back. So, but this is our measure of how successful we were, is that we asked how the activity has affected their mental wellness. We gave them a range from very negative to very positive. And it's nice to know that most of them felt that the activities had a positive or very positive effect on their mental wellness, with them saying that it's satisfying to be able to speak with others and that it put away overthinking and depression on hold for a bit. And it even taught them to feel that it's okay to meet other people and gave them a bit more confidence. Yes. Oh, sorry, before I proceed. So before I proceed, now keep in mind that as important as it is, these activities, how successful these activities have been, we cannot guarantee nor can we promise constant success. So the next time you consider doing these kind of activities, people might not feel that they're as effective now later as they are effective now. So it's also important to realize what kind of activities that people prefer. They already gave you some feedback just now. Talking, cooking, drawing things out. We can just listen, be there, and support them through thick and thin. So here in Brunei, we will later explore how others have taken the initiative to advocate for mental wellness. And this is where I leave you in the capable hands of Nazif to take over. Nazif, the stage is yours.
Hey, Nazif, you have 4 minutes. Good luck.
All right, thank you, Farah, for your presentation. Next, so my presentation will be about mental health services in Brunei. So I divided into 3. Am I lagging all right? Hello? I'm okay. Okay, sorry. So we have public, private, and mental health advocate on social media. Because it says services. So to me, the reason why I give 3 is because I know for a fact people probably, if they can find at one place, they can go to another place. That is the beauty of having so many organizations. Okay. Oh, sorry. Next. First, we have the government one. The government is the public. So we have clinical psychological service. So this one, it offers counseling, therapy talk, and as well as a workshop. This one is public. It moved to Ong Sompeng Bandar. If most of you don't know, which is near Polytechnic Brunei and the famous school Stepri. It is over there, and that is the contact. And what they offer is you can do we can do therapy talk here, and it's free. That's the best part. However, I did get some comment online about government. It's the fact that it's quite slow because they only have few doctors there, so their appointment probably gonna do in a month, or in a month only one session, because they have other patient. So the thing is that the government has lacking of psychiatrists and people on the psychological department. But it's a good thing that it's free. This the reason why I post this is because of the fact that we all know that there are underprivileged people. They don't have financial stable, the parents cannot afford to do that. This is the free one. And since this is quite long, you can just go to the emergencies hospital repass emergency, where you can just go there and then ask for referral. But then again, government one is quite slow. It is due to the fact that there are less people there. But you can always try. You are encouraged to go to any local service if you guys want. Next. So this one is the private one. I feel like everyone knows about this. Helium. It was happening. It did a presentation last week. It's very good. I did a lot of research about this. The founder is Major Rusdi bin Bujang. Previous. Kejap. It is established in July 2015. So it has so many courses, and it's the fact that they also provide counseling and therapy, but it costs. I'm not saying it's costly, but it is costly. It costs only for $60 per hour, and you can check their IG. And then their achievement, they are very nice. I saw on their IG they have 4 interns from UBD. They are now certified counseling, so they did the intern. And then I know after they graduate from UBD, they're not just doing counseling, and they're not just having that degree certificate, they also have counseling practice, which is good. Next. This one is social media advocate. Okay, I put 3 because the thing is that we can refer to more than one. First is called For Hope, Moisture Bloom, and the new one, Perkau Young Mind. One thing they have in common is that they all try their best to be an advocate. So the reason why they use social media is so that they can interact well with teenagers or the youth. Because I remember I went for the More to Bloom. They have this course called journaling. I've been doing journaling for my whole life, but with their free course, I learned something new, is that instead of doing journaling, you can just review it by at the end of the week, and then you can review which is which. And then Call for Hope also provide the course. And last but not least, I really love Perkap Young Mind. Yes, the founder is here. Her name is Aimuni. The reason why I picked this is because of the fact that they are youth, and then us generation, they are mostly Generation Z, so they know how to use social media. They know how to provide. They don't have much content yet because they're quite new, but I do believe in youth. I mean, More to Bloom and Call for Hope are Generation Y. I'm not saying they're old, but like I would like to see like the new generation come together and make their content more relatable, because I know for a fact that when we were young, we've been through a lot. So like having a platform that says that, oh, here's a post and make you relatable. I hope you're doing okay. And then Young Mind also provide a platform for people to speak. It's very good. Like, yeah. So like, these are the 3. If you want to go for their IG, just go. And you can follow the IG. It's youngmind.bn. Also the same as for the rest of the mental health advocate. By that, next. I would like to pass to the next slide. Presenter. Thank you.
It's my part. Hello. Hi, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yes. Umi, we have gone past our time. How many slides do you have? And are you the last speaker?
No. After my slide, it's going to be Jannah. But I have only 1 slide.
Here. Okay. Let's, let's accommodate for another 3 minutes.
Okay, I'll just make it very quick.
Okay.
So I'm Umi, and I'm going to talk about ways to promote mental health awareness. Promoting mental health awareness means that we are promoting the recognition of our psychological well-being is as important as our own physical well-being. That's why before we are promoting mental health awareness, we need to educate ourselves about mental health. Maybe attend a mental health event just like this one. And after we have, because by educating ourselves, it can help us to know what to do when someone reaches for our help. And by educating ourselves, after that, we have the knowledge. So we want to take a step closer towards people. Taking a step closer towards people means that we can try to talk and open up by sharing our own mental health experience with people. By doing that, it makes people feel like they are not fighting alone, and they feel comfortable around us and safe, which tends to make them talk more about themselves. By that, we should always be kind and never judge their stories. Instead, we can help them by recommending or suggesting some professional help that we think they might need. And yeah, other than that, I would suggest social media, the use of social media, because since we are using social media as on a daily basis. So I would take WhatsApp, for example. We can spread kindness, post something positive. It doesn't really matter when, maybe daily or once a month or even once a week. It doesn't really matter. You want to post maybe self-care tactics or how to live a healthy lifestyle, or maybe simply some inspiring quotes that you found helpful, because sometimes this kind of small act of kindness might be some reason that someone is still holding on. But moreover, when you post something and it reaches to a wide range of age, I feel like you're not just awareing the teenagers about their mental health. You are also awareing maybe if it reaches to some parents, and then it leads them to wanting to know their kids' conditions better. And I think that is the way to promote mental health awareness. That's all from me. I hope I may inspire some to start promoting this issue, because even if nobody in your circle is trying to share, or no, you're just shy to post something like this, be the first to start. It doesn't matter. You can remember your first intention, the reason why you promote this issue. Are you trying to show off, or are you trying to help people? If you're really trying to help people, you can remember what Shaun said. Don't target to save the whole world. You can just focus on saving one person. It would be worth all the efforts. And that's all from me. I'm just gonna pass it to Jannah now.
Thanks, Umi. Well done. Hey, Jannah.
Hello, everyone. So we have reached to the end of the thread. I'm sorry for being late. I just got home and this is how I'm gonna dress. I'm just gonna jump in. So I'm sorry for looking like a trash. But yeah, but this is me being humble. So first of all, congratulations. I am proud of everyone's coming this far. I feel I want to tear up because I'm so proud of my team and everyone. It's so touching that we are all, we are all very considerate about mental health and we care about people. And yeah, and it looks like we are all very genuine and very sincere about this. And I hope we can do something bigger next time and we can reach more people out there so that we can tell everyone that their life matters and mental health matters and they're just so strong to be alive. So before we end this, I would like to invite everyone to open their arms very, very wide. And I want you to hug yourself and love yourself and rub yourself and tell that to yourself that I am proud of you for making it this far. Thank you for sticking around and not giving up. You are doing absolutely amazing and please keep going. You will be all right, my friend. So that's all from Team 4.
Well done, team number 4. You guys,
amazing.
You guys have been exemplary, and wow, the amount of research and effort you have put into this presentation. My God, what a fitting tribute to close this webinar with team number 4. Thank you so much. We have here with us Dr. Kartini, who is representing the Ministry of Health. Hi, good afternoon, Dr. Kartini. How are you?
Hello, good afternoon.
Dr. Kartini, I saw that you were smiling, you were nodding, you were enjoying to the fullest when team number 4 was speaking.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Oh my goodness. That's wow. That's the mental health youth champion kind of, attitude. That's very good. Yeah. Even though I joined you guys, I think 10 minutes before 3, but yeah, you guys are amazing with the research, with all those things. Wow. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I also saw that Dr. Kartini, when Nazif was presenting, talking about the waiting time in the public service, you were nodding and smiling a lot. So do you want to share an insight about that?
I'll talk to you about it later, okay?
Dr. Kartini, before I formally invite you, I just want to read out your short biography
Ah,
so that everyone have a context of who will be speaking to us in the next half an hour or so. So allow me, please. Yeah.
thank you.
So Dr. Kartini is a senior medical officer in psychiatry with the Ministry of Health, Brunei. Her journey in medicine began after attaining her undergraduate Bachelor in Biomedical Science degree, followed by her MBBS from the University of Queensland, Australia in 2010. Subsequently, she undertook her advanced specialty training under the Royal Australian and New Zealand College of Psychiatry, which has brought her to all parts of Queensland, including the Sunshine Coast and Rockhampton. As part of her role as a clinician, she has worked in forensic mental health, geriatric psychiatry, and is active in providing care for patients in rural areas through the community outreach service. She was the clinical lead in the metabolic monitoring for adult community patients and served as part of Sunshine Coast Mental Health Service Medical Safety Committee. Her special interest lies in cognitive behavioral therapy, general adult psychiatry, specifically psychosis in young adults. Dr. Kartini is passionate about her field and has been invited speaker to numerous local forums, raising awareness about mental health issues. Outside of work, she is an avid hiker and enjoys exploring nature trails. We have someone who is extremely qualified and who is a well representative of Australia in this Australian forum. So welcome and good day, mate.
Yay, good night.
Yeah, Dr. Kartini, if you can, I know that you have a presentation to make. So we will first invite you to do your presentation, followed by a discussion. We're here today to learn from you about, what are the support that we can find in Brunei, as well as, some of the tips that you can have for our young advocates in wanting to provide mental health support. So yeah, can't wait to hear from you, Dr. Kartini.
All right, for sure. Hello, everyone. Shall I just share my screen? Or...
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Dr. Kartini, is it maximum volume?
Yeah, I think so. It is.
So you might have to shout a little bit, just like me.
Okay. All right. I might just maximize it a bit again. Hello.
Okay.
Is it now?
Yeah. Let's
right.
We'll be very quiet to make sure that we can hear you.
Okay. All right. Okay. Can you see my slides now?
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for inviting me for this presentation. Wow. Yeah. Once again, I'm impressed with you guys. Okay. All right. It's going to be a very simple, very short presentation, but you can interrupt me anytime. Okay. I don't mind. All right. I think with the 4 weeks of you guys being in this program, I might think you guys know what is the mental health is all about. So, with the mental health is the state of your mind, your feelings, your emotions, and everything surround you can impact on your mental health. All right. And of course, with if you've got poor mental health, you're feeling sad, you have, having difficulty in thinking straight, and you're quite easily overwhelmed with little things in your life. So it's mental health, okay? But the thing is, I want you guys to understand what is the mental health and what is mental illness, because it's quite different. When you're having, kind of day-to-day sadness, day-to-day upset feeling, you wouldn't even prolong that kind of feeling if you don't have mental illness, all right? mental illness impacting on your life, your function, everyday activities like your relationship, your academic performance, your family relationship, even if you're working, can't even work. So it's like a prolonged period of time. So that's the illness itself. You can see that's illness if you feel that yourself, or it's you observe that to your loved one or your friends. If you feel they're quite different from like their character for a long time, if only one day is okay. Like you know, you have a bad and good days, okay? Don't say that this person got mental illness just because you know they're having bad days. All right. So just need to make sure you know, you understand what mental illness is all about, and then I want you to get the info, you know, the take-home message from my presentation today, that you know, like how you identify your friends or yourself having mental illness and require help as soon as possible. All right. Um, and yeah, anyone can develop mental illness. Anyone. So you know, those are the list type of mental illness, but it's not exhausted to that list. There's mood disorders, depression, you know, psychotic depression, neurotic stress related, like some of you was talking about PTSD just now, anxiety. Those go under the heading of neurotic, and eating disorders as well. It's quite from my experience. Brunei versus Australia cases, like our teenagers, our adolescents, quite not open about their eating disorders here in Brunei compared to in Australia. So it's quite, I think, more you know, mental health awareness about eating disorders in our country. Um, those are the things that we need to look into in the future. With the schizophrenia, yeah, psychosis with the abnormal behavior, hearing voices, delusional thoughts, abnormal thoughts, quite aggressive behavior, those kind of things quite common in the cases in mental health in Brunei. And those illnesses very challenging for the person itself who experiencing it, for the family, the spouses, the friends, but the mental illness can be treated. Okay, so that's the hope for us for the mental illness, as any other physical illness, diabetes, blood pressure problems, and all sort of things, they've got treatment. All right. And with mental illness, usually we can see it can occur in teenagers, even as early as 12 years old. You can see some kind of out of character. So it will be good to have the earliest intervention as much as possible. All right. And as I said, the symptoms can be varied. Like, you know, in terms of schizophrenia, mood disorders, they can be overlap as well. And with the mental illness, they experience significant distress for their difficulty in functioning or unable to function at all with their daily activities. With those mental illness, there's always a risk factors, the increase of chance of having mental illness, but not only like, you know, it's not only like one factor causing you having mental illness. Family history of mental illness, if you had a unresolved traumatic event in your life, or abusive childhood, if you've got a prolonged stressful life events that's unable to be resolved, and if you're experiencing a lot of drugs use, alcohol use, or even if you have difficulty when you are at birth, those are the things that increase the chance of having mental illness. And as a environmental factor, the social, economic, or educational status can be one of the risk factors of developing mental illness as well. I think this is my fifth slide. So anyone, any questions before I proceed?
I have a question.
Yeah,
Can like mental health symptoms or disorders, could they like permanently damage brain, or how?
Okay. One, with the mental health symptoms, if you prolong it, with the biological theory, there's a lot of the chemicals in the brain. When you're having those symptoms, it's unstable, right? So if it's not intervened, with the prolonged period of time, it will get worse. Okay, but we don't know how long, but it will get worse, and your function in your daily activities in your life will be get worse, and it would be very difficult for you to recover. So as I mentioned earlier, as early intervention as possible. So the earlier, the better to get help. Yeah, that's the most important thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I forgot to ask you just a simple question.
Yeah.
What are the differences between a psychiatrist and psychologist?
Ah!
I know some would some
Yes.
would know this. Yes.
It's all right. It's good. It's good. We've got a lot of questions about that too. So
Yeah.
psychologist and psychiatrist, the similarity first. We are dealing with mind. We are dealing with the therapy. We are dealing with the psychological intervention. However, with the psychiatrist, we are medical doctor. Medical doctor doing the training to become a psychiatrist. So we are prescribing medications. We are dealing with the physical symptoms as well. So we are medical doctor. So that's the difference between the psychologist and the psychiatrist.
Yeah.
All
Thank
right.
you, Dr. Kartini.
No problem. No problem. Any other questions?
So, Dr. Kartini,
Sorry.
in the chat room, Aimuni
Oh.
was mentioning that a psychiatry is someone who prescribes medicine, and a psychologist provides therapy. Is she on track with her comment?
It's correct to a certain extent. However, psychiatrists, we are trained to do the psychotherapy as well, the counseling, the psychological intervention. As I mentioned, I'm very interested in cognitive behavioral therapy, and I'm very well trained in that therapy as well. So I can do that too. So we are the psychiatrists, both the psychology side and the medical side.
So, in short, the psychiatrists work harder.
Don't well no, all of us work harder to promote all this mental health people. Okay.
Right. Sorry, someone had a question just now. Was it you, Aimuni?
Yeah, it was me. Actually, I am interested in the same thing, and I was wondering, there's questions, a similar question as well with Darkus. She asked about hypnosis. If you ever did hypnosis before, for example, for schizophrenia or disorders like dissociative identity disorder. I was just wondering if you have conducted one.
Well, within the psychiatry world, okay, some of us got different opinion about that. Okay, in terms of the hypnosis, in terms of the multiple personality disorders, as our psychiatry modern world progresses, and then our diagnostic criteria changes as time goes on. So there is no such thing as a multiple personality disorder or the treatment hypnotic disorder anymore at this moment, but it was happening years ago. But because of the diagnostic criteria is different now, the treatment option is different, kind of thing is quite starting to disappear, all those the especially the hypnotic therapy at this moment. Yeah, it's not part of the evidence base anymore. As you guys team 4 just now, they did all the research and everything. So as the medicine world progress with all the evidence base and then all the research studies, hypnosis is not a good evidence base for treating patients with psychosis for the hypnosis. And then there is no in our new criteria for the diagnosis of multiple personality disorder in our list of the diagnostic criteria at this moment.
Dr. Kartini, there is a long list of questions in the chat room.
Okay.
I think that we all realize that this is our final window to ask questions of the expert, because it's the final week. I do realize that you also have a second part of your presentation, which is about where to get support.
Yes,
How should we approach it? Should we?
I'll finish it. It's only like four slides left.
Okay.
Okay.
So
All right.
you guys hold your fire, and once Dr. Kartini finish, right? Fire away with your questions, all right?
Yes, yes. Okay, no problem. And I'm happy actually. At the end of the presentation, I'm happy to reply to your email. You can email me or anything like that. I would be happy to do that. Okay.
Right. So
All
I
right.
shall share your email with them.
Yes, yes. I would be happy. All
Okay.
right.
Please share email.
All right. Okay. Next, yeah. Okay. How can I do this? Okay. Oh. All right. So let's talk about what's happening in the psychiatry in Brunei at this moment. But this statistic is for Brunei Muara only. So in 2020, last year, we saw new cases in our service, almost like 240 or 300, almost 400 people for the new cases. And then currently we are following up around 6,000 plus patients in our service. It's only Brunei Muara, yeah. We have Kuala Belait, Tutong, and Temburong psychiatry services as well. So this is only Brunei Muara. So see how, because of, I think, with the exposure to mental health awareness, with the accessibility of our mental health services, and then with a lot of health promotion and all this non-government, organization helping us with promoting mental health is quite really good in terms of our patients now coming up for the treatment for their mental health issues. All right. And then as we are talking about the mental health youth champion, so I just want to show you our child and youth psychiatry, the cases seen. As you see, there's a upward trend of our new cases seen for the last 3 years. All right. So now it's 132. So we're still waiting for our statistic for the 2021, especially with the now second wave of COVID. So we'll just see how we're so looking forward for the statistic.
What are your observations as of now, Dr. Kartini? Do you see a spike in demand of your service?
Oh yes, totally. One is the new cases for sure, and second, our existing patients increasing maybe by up to 20 to 30%. More requiring a lot of close monitoring, requiring changes of medications, requiring a lot of the psychological intervention in terms of with us, limited movement in our society at this moment. So a lot of people are living in one house, homeschooling, work from home, create a lot of family dynamics at home, and then a lot of stresses at home. Not everyone in their family, having fun, spending time together 24/7. So a lot of crisis at this moment for us. But I left my my psychiatry service for the last two weeks because I'm currently working in the CHAM in Mahat. So yeah, I'm deployed at this moment. So yeah, but I'm sure it's increasing. Like my colleagues, yeah, even inform me about that. The on call is quite hectic at this moment in comparison without COVID era. So yeah, it's fun. It's good. It's the rewarding experience. Yeah.
It's very meaningful, I must add.
Yes, it is. It is. All right. So that's our cases nowadays. Then so like as I mentioned, yeah, like as I summarize, like about the mental illness, like the if you get early intervention, the better. This is the example before I got deployed to CHAM. I've got this patient of mine when I was in my outpatient clinic. Okay, so I've got the 17-year-old male student. He's quite very bright young man, high achiever, great A's, student. He's quite active in football. He's quite, the champion of the champion. And then mom quite upset, so it's referred by the emergency department. Then this patient has got 4 weeks history of abnormal behavior. What triggered mom to bring him to the emergency department, because he's not been eating for 3 days, and the thoughts behind not eating for 3 days because of his extreme guilt. If he's eating and he believes God will punish him, it's quite a bizarre kind of thought pattern, where he's hearing voices as well, that he said, like, these voices telling him you're guilty and you should kill yourself. If you eat, the food will turn into dust, it will turn into poison. And then of course, it caused him depressed. And they want to spend time with his family, because usually he's a very happy-go-lucky young man, very well, knitted family, good knitted family network and everything. But no, so that's quite a very sad history for him. And when I saw him, I was unable to talk to him much, apart from his preoccupied thoughts of feeling extremely guilt and having the suicidal thoughts. All right. And we, of course, as any mental health issues, we want to rule out any medical problems first. But he didn't have any medical problems at that stage. He didn't have any history of substance use, no drugs, no alcohol, not even a smoker. And he's got family history of depression, which makes him vulnerable to developmental illness. All right. And he didn't have any kind of risk factors when he was, when mom pregnant with him. There's no, hypoxia at birth, nothing whatsoever. And then our working diagnosis that time was the psychosis. And we wanted to treat the psychosis first. And after 1 week treatment, significant improvement. It's quite a success story for this young man, actually. Significant improvement. The voices starting to die down, and it's starting to improve his depression. And the thought about feeling guilt about the God being punishing him is gone after 1.5 weeks or so. So currently now he's 1 month, follow up. Before I went for the deployment, he was doing very well, but he's on treatment for the antipsychotic medications. But he will be for sure, our long-term patient in our psychiatric service. So the gist of this presentation is one, the earlier the better you get treatment. The second thing is the good support from family is a most important thing, and good prognostic factor for this young man, because premorbidly, before he was sick, he's a very high achiever, that he can achieve that again with the regular follow-up, with the continued treatment in our service. And then, of course, with ongoing psychoeducation, mental health awareness about his mental illness, with himself and his family, when to look for the early signs of relapse, and of course working together with the psychiatric service. So this is kind of, I think, the model of the early intervention of psychiatry.
Macam si Banar.
Early signs of psychosis for young adult, okay, for teenager. So it's quite is one of many thousands of patients of early psychosis that I've treated since I've become a psychiatric doctor. So it's quite a good prognosis for this young man. All right. And yeah, this is the second thing about, I think the second last slide for me, how to access mental health. So Nazif did well about telling us about the psychology, the psychiatric service, and local mental health support. Thank you so much for that. And I want to make a comment about the prolonged waiting period, especially with the COVID service, COVID era at this moment. Our service is for both psychology service and the mental health psychiatry service. Yeah. Our kind of we are in the high restriction level period at this moment for our service, and the regular appointment is we are canceling usually our regular appointments. We rebook our appointment usually like 6 months or 3 months at this stage. Okay. However, in terms of psychology service, they've got walk-in clinic still going on. All right. If you've got like really want to talk to psychology, you can go just walk in. Walk in like in the Ong Som Ping clinic for the psychology office hours. So they're still running that service, walk-in clinic. Okay. So that's one. Second, for the mental health service in Kiarong, hopefully a few of you knows where our service in Kiarong is with the CDC, the Child Development Center. We are sharing the Sem Simpang. So we've got a service of the walk-in clinic. All right. So walk-in clinic, if you've got any issue, really want to talk to a doctor, you can go to the walk-in clinic. All right. It's office hours as well. And of course, if it's very urgent situation, you can go to emergency department. We can the secretary doctor on call can see you there. One, they can see you there, and second, maybe they can call you as well during that period. So to limit the face-to-face interaction. However, if they feel that they need to see you face-to-face, they will inform you. All right. So that's our COVID era situation at this moment. Okay. How would we manage all those urgent situation? How like people extremely overwhelmed with their situation? We can help with that too.
Is there any virtual service by the government?
At this moment, we are working for it, but it's quite difficult in terms of the confidentiality and with the hackers around the corner. So we don't want to have the virtual at this moment. I think the government are thinking about it, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah. We haven't got any update about that yet, but we do the telehealth, consultation at this moment. All right. And of course, Talian Harapan Hotline 145. So that's like I heard like now from 200 calls per day, now they receive around 800 calls per day.
Wow, 4 times.
Yes. So because of now they're doing daily at even Friday and Sunday, so it's quite, that's the reason why increase of number of calls as well. All right. Talian Harapan is not only for you. You can call on behalf of your loved ones, your friends. Yeah, you can just call them to get any advice and counseling as well. All right. So that's Talian Harapan.
So how do they like deal a very large number of callers?
So we are in terms of that before COVID started, the second wave COVID started. They are actually recruiting a lot of the psychologists, the counselors as well. So increased numbers of the experts too. So that's why they are now able to cope, I think. Yeah, that's it. And walk-in clinics, I talk about walk-in, I talk about the emergency situation, mental health expert. So with the mental health expert, I talk about the nurse, I put about the nurse, medical welfare officers, occupational therapists. You're unable to get it for emergency situation. But in terms of the, when you talk to the secretary doctor, you can be referred to their services at that stage. But it's not that for the urgent situations, all right? And I mentioned our psychiatric service now expanding. We've got a lot of services nowadays. So those are the things that I listed in my slides. Oh yeah, and you guys did very well in terms of just now your activities. So the stress management tips, I don't think I wanna expand more about these slides. So you guys did very well just now. So no need for me to to explore this. All right. So I think that's the end of my slides.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I would be happy.
Fabulous.
Thank you so much.
No problem. No
Thank you so
problem.
much.
Kartini,
Yeah.
thank you for the wonderful presentation. Our next session is coming right up, but I really want to make sure that we all have a chance to talk to you. Perhaps, can we take 2 questions? Right? And then we will go on to our next session. Dr. Kartini, if you have no plans later on, join us for our virtual party.
Yeah,
We are all
not?
dressed up for it. It will be fun. Yeah. So does anyone have a final question? I see there's a long list.
I have a final question.
Radin, can we give a chance to someone who have not asked yet? If it's okay with you, yeah? Well, failing which, we'll come back to you, Radin. Right? Does anyone have any question that you want to ask Dr. Kartini?
Can I ask a question?
Please, Asha.
So mine's is regarding medicine for mental illnesses. So firstly, like, what is the criteria that you prescribe someone medicine? Because from my knowledge, medicine is something long-term where the patient has to take it for a long time. So do you prefer to prescribe it like right away, or would you wait and try other methods first? But what if the mental illness worsens during that waiting time of trial and error?
All right. It's a very good question. Thank you so much. I do agree with medications. Some of the certain type of mental illness require long-term medications and treatment. All right. As treatment of mental illness with our modern world now, it's not only medications, but it's kind of holistic approach. Holistic approach means the medication, the biologically, the psychologically, and the social stresses as well we need to support. Social stressor means the family relationship, the financial issues, the occupation, and all those things. Is very important in terms of managing our mental health patients. Okay, your question about medication. Certain type of mental illness, particularly with the aggression, with the psychosis, is requires certainly quick, medications. You need to control the symptoms as soon as possible, all right? Provided that there is no physical health issues that you can find out from the investigation you had, if the patient got no medical issues, then you can start away antipsychotic medications, all right? The second bit about mood disorders. If the patient has a mood disorder, for example, depression, mild depression. So with certain mild depression, usually we can wait in terms of they can do the psychological intervention. We can deal with the psychological stresses, the social stresses, we can deal with that. All right. Usually we'll just waiting period. It will be good for the mild one. Okay. For the moderate and severe depression, it is for our psychiatry guidelines, it needs require medications. All right. So with medication, that's why with certain depression, if there's only first episode of depression, there's certain period of time they require medications. All right. Like sometimes 6 months, period of time is only first episode of depression. However, if the person has recurrent episodes of depression in their life, it would be better for the person to have medication for prolonged period of time to prevent them to have a relapse of depressive illness. That's only for example. And there's a lot of other type of mental illness as well. Bipolar illness need to be treated on the medications on that as well. All right. There's a lot different. That's why about psychiatry itself, it's quite a very specific individualistic management. It's not only just one type of management for this person. This is kind of different kind of individualistic management for each patient. All right, this makes the medication wonderful.
Dr. Kartini, as you can see, we have a lot of aspiring mental health experts coming up in the future.
Yes.
Hence the very enthusiastic and deep questions. I would like to invite a final question, but I would like to invite Dr. Kartini to spend 2 minutes only on the question. So on the answers. So does anyone have any final question?
I have a very simple question.
Right.
All right, so Dr. Katini, I'm looking to be a psychiatrist one day. So right now, I'm doing my degree, and I'm just asking you because like I'm very interested in cognitive study as well. So what will you suggest for me to take for my master?
Oh, all right. What degree are you now?
Sociology.
Sociology. Well, well, psychology master will be great. The psychological intervention will be great. And you are aspiring psychiatrist, isn't it? You would like to become a psychiatrist. In order to become a psychiatrist, you need to enter the medical school. So enter the medical degree first, and then from medical, and then graduate, become a doctor, and then from a doctor, after your foundation year, you can straight away have a psychiatry training, specialist training. Yeah.
Okay.
Good luck. Oh my gosh.
You.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, join me in giving the biggest appreciation to Dr. Kartini. You know, our healthcare is in very good hand under your leadership, Dr. Kartini.
Oh, thank you
I'm so glad that you are back amongst us.
Oh, thank you. It's lovely to meet all of you. All right. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank
yeah,
you.
we look forward to keeping in touch.
All right.
And
yes,
I will pass
sure.
your contact to everyone.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Shaun.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, doctor.
Bye.
Thank you. Now, you know, we have.
Thank you, doctor.
We have, you know, two representatives from Australia that have just joined us. It is dinner time over in Melbourne, and we have Ella and we have Andrew. Welcome and good afternoon.
Thanks, Shaun.
I hope you all are not too hungry. That you know you can still last for a little more while before we go ahead with your dinner plan tonight for your Saturday night. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Thanks, Shaun.
Yeah, allow me to take a few minutes very quickly to read through your bio so everyone know who we are talking to. I'll start with Ella. So Ella Gao is the Youth Partnership Lead for Origin Global. In her role, she is responsible for developing and facilitating initiatives to ensure that Origin Global meaningfully includes, values, and centers a diverse range of youth voices worldwide. I think I'm having problem with my camera. Sorry about that. Ella has helped various live experience, advocacy, and youth advisory roles for numerous mental health organizations in Australia. Previously at Origin, she led the engagement of young people nationally and internationally in Origin's partnership project with the World Economic Forum and facilitated consultation activities with young people around the world. Ella earned a Bachelor of Public Health and Health Promotion at Deakin University and is currently a youth commissioner with the Lancet Psychiatric Commission. She has a keen interest in addressing the social determinants of health, system reform, and empowering young people to be catalysts for change. And next, we have Andrew Tangas, who is the Senior Project Manager for Advocacy and Engagement at Origin. In his current position, Andrew engages with a wide range of stakeholders across the public sector to provide authoritative advice on issues related to youth health, well-being, and mental health in Victoria, nationally and internationally. Andrew has a wealth of experience in developing strategic and funding relationships between not-for-profit organizations and stakeholders in the public, private, and philanthropic sectors. He has worked in a range of government and stakeholders facing roles in the youth sectors in Australia and in the United States, focusing on education to employment, transition, and social entrepreneurship. Andrew earned a Bachelor of Arts in Politics and Sociology at La Trobe University and has recently completed a Master's of Social Policy at Melbourne University. He is passionate about reshaping ways Australia address its most complex and pressing socio-economic challenges, and working with global partners to share ideas and best practices in advocating for systemic change. So we have two very heavyweights from Origins speaking to us today. We are honored to have your presence with us, and we can't wait to hear from you and learn from you on how to be an advocate for mental health after all of us have graduated for today. So over to you, Ella and Andrew.
Awesome. Thanks, Shaun. Thank you for the very kind introduction. Thank you all for sticking with us with our long bios. I'm just going to share a screen, if that's okay. We'll work through some slides. Can you guys all see that? Is that working? Okay. Yeah, cool. Awesome. So yeah, we're really excited to be here today. So yeah, obviously me, Andrew and Ella, we're going to just run you through a little bit about getting started in youth mental health advocacy. Yeah, I'll just run through what we're going to be talking through today, and then we'll sort of jump into it. I know that we've got about 40 minutes, so we'll just run through some content real quick, and then we'll jump into some questions with you guys. So we'll start with just what is advocacy and how it can help with mental health and addressing mental health. Some practical ideas for getting started in advocacy. And then Ella's going to run through some examples of young people doing advocacy to help you guys just think about some things you might do and get some inspiration. And then we'll hear from you guys. We'll hear some questions. So please, whether you're writing them in the chat or writing them down on your notepads, get ready to ask us. We'd love to hear from you guys at the end. Great. So I thought we would just quickly touch base on who we are, so who Origin is. So Origin is a youth mental health organisation in Australia, and we sort of focus on three or four main things. So these are three of the things that we focus on. So we do research on mental health treatments, on models of care that work for young people. And then we provide care to young people. So we employ people like psychologists and psychiatrists and peer workers to provide care to young people. And then we take the learning from research and from the care that we provide, and we go to the public and we go to government and we say, these are the things that work in youth mental health. Let's invest in them, let's support them. And so that's the work that Ella and I do in advocacy. And so we're really excited to talk to you today about what advocacy is and some of the ways you guys can do it. And so I thought it would be good just to start. I know that you guys have seen some of those videos. Shaun sent through the videos. You guys were the YouTube videos, which are really great. And one of them, I think the guy that is dancing on the hill, I don't know if you've all had a chance to watch it yet, but that's one of my favorite videos about advocacy and about building movements. It's a really great representation of how leadership works and how you can really start something big based on really small acts. And I also love dancing, so that helps. So what is advocacy and how can it help? So firstly, advocacy for me is about raising awareness of issues, so mainly social issues like mental health, or it might be poverty or employment or unemployment, something like that. So about raising awareness of these issues and then creating action. So if we think, for example, of something like social media as an example of advocacy, it's about putting information out there so public can see an issue and then asking them to do something. asking them to, whether it be support young people in their community or speak to government about increasing the investment in mental health. So it's about raising awareness and creating action. And it's really helpful for people who are experiencing mental health as well. So it really helps people feel less alone. So when people see that it's not just them that are experiencing mental health, but they see from other people's stories, from statistics, from information that's put out in the public domain, it helps people feel less alone and more connected. And also more empowered. If they know they're not alone and they know that there are people out there working to support them, then it really gives a sense of hope and a sense of I can be involved in changing this. And then the last thing about advocacy, I really like that advocacy can be all about small actions that can have really big impacts. And we'll talk a little bit more about social media and different types of advocacy in a moment. But using the social media advocacy, the social media example in this instance, it can be things as small and simple as liking a post or sharing some of your experiences about mental health. And if a lot of people do this, it can really lead to big impacts. And I spoke before about asking, putting information out to the public and asking them to do something. This is a lot of what happens on social media. And some of those campaigns have very big impact, such as a lot of funding or donations going into mental health services, and sometimes governments changing the way that they provide services. So really small actions in advocacy can have really big changes. So before I talk about some of the ways that you can do advocacy, it's always helpful to think about how you can prepare for advocacy. So what are some of the things that you can do before you actually start that will help you in your advocacy journey? And so there are a lot of things that you can benefit from by doing some planning, but I think 3 of them, which are really important. Firstly, if you do some planning, it can help you stay safe. So if you are, for example, sharing your own story, or you're sharing stories of other people, or you're putting yourself in a situation where you're speaking to the public, that can sometimes be quite uncomfortable and it can lead to some difficult situations. And so it's really important, especially online, where sometimes people can run into bullying or harassment issues or things like this. It's really important to be able to stay safe. So doing some planning will help you stay safe. It will help you be clear about your goals. So what are you trying to achieve? And it will make you, it will give you a sense of what you want to do and how you make decisions to achieve that goal. And then finally, it will help you measure your success. So if you set really good goals about your advocacy at the start, and then you do your advocacy, you can look back and say, did I do what I wanted to do? And if not, what can I learn? So before you start advocacy, it's always a really good thing to do, to ask yourself a few questions. And I've just got a few really simple questions here. So firstly, what do I want to do? So I was just checking something. So what do I want to do? You might want to raise awareness, as we were talking before, raise awareness about mental health in your community. Or you might want to create action, so ask people to do something. You might want people to share stories or provide services. So it's like, what do you want to do? That's the first question you want to ask. And then how do I want to do it? So do I want to share stories? Do I want to share my story, other people's stories? Do I want to provide information? So do I want to show people what is happening in my local community in terms of mental health? How many people are experiencing mental ill health? How many services do we have available? Information like this. Do I want to give my opinion about what we need to do in mental health in my community? So maybe I want to go out and say, I don't think we have enough services. I think our community leaders should improve our services, for example. So think about how you want to do it. And then thirdly, then this one's really important. One of the most important questions in advocacy, I think, is what help might I need? And this is for anyone. I do this all the time. Before any advocacy I think about, what am I going to need to achieve my goals? And so do I need to access information? Who can help me do that? Do I need some skills? Do I need someone who can do design really well? Or do I need to learn some marketing skills to be able to make sure that my advocacy reaches a lot of people? Or do I just need some support? Do I just need someone who's going to sit there with me, who's done advocacy before, and say, hey, you're doing a really good job and you should keep going, and have some moral support, because that's really important. This stuff can often be really hard. So yeah, a few questions you can ask yourself. And then this is another one that I find really useful, is set yourself some goals that you can measure. And I'm not sure if you guys have heard of SMART goals before, but it's a really well-known tool for setting good goals. And basically you walk through these 5 things. So make a goal specific, measurable, achievable, and relevant and time bound. And you can have a look online for what all of these things mean, but it gives you a really good way of framing what you want to achieve out of your advocacy. Cool. So I know that you guys, I was talking to Shaun yesterday, I know that you guys, like a lot of people around the world, are currently in or about to go into isolation, currently in isolation. And so a lot of advocacy, or some of advocacy, is done in person and offline. But at the moment, you sort of have to focus on what you can do remotely. And so I thought what we'd do is focus on social media as one of the ways that you can do advocacy, and then we can talk a little bit about some of the other ways afterwards. And I thought social media, it's great because you can do it remotely. Anyone can do it from their bedroom. But it's also one of the strongest advocacy tools you have at your hands these days. It's really easy to use, and it can be really powerful because it has such a big audience, and social media can have a really big influence on how people think and behave. And there's been a lot of research done on the power of social media. So it really is a strong advocacy tool, and we use it almost every day in our advocacy. So what I've done here is just provided a list of types of advocacy you can do with social media. And I've started with really simple things, so things that are very easy to do if you don't have a lot of time and you don't have a lot of capacity or energy to dedicate towards this. And then I've got some stuff that's a little bit more, requires a bit more time and effort, just to give you some different levels which you might start at. And so with the easy stuff, like you might use a profile picture filter or a frame. I'm sure you guys have seen these things. I've put some examples on the right-hand side. So there's the Facebook Messenger Mental Health Matters filter up there, and it really is just about raising awareness. So if you use that, I think is like a sticker set, and sort of share that with your friends, it's just a really easy way to show people that you care about mental health and that they might be interested in learning a little bit more about mental health. As I said before, following, liking, sharing posts, it's a really small thing, but it can have a really big impact. And so there are a lot of really great mental health organizations out there. I'm sure that Shaun and others have been sort of sharing those with you. So check out what they're up to and follow them, like them, share their work. If you've got a little bit more time and effort, you might do something like a social media challenge. And so I've got a couple here. I'm not sure if you guys saw a few years ago, there was a big one called the Ice Bucket Challenge for motor neuron disease, where people would get a big a bucket of ice and throw it over their head. And the thing with social media challenges is basically asking your friends to do something. And it's quite, it's often quite exciting and engaging, and lots of people want to get involved in it. So that's a good one. We actually did one. So the Burpee Bounce Back Challenge was one that we've been doing at Origin, currently doing at the moment, asking people to do a burpee, which is like a push-up, do some exercise, and do it to raise awareness about mental health for young people in Australia. So you could do something like that. Or you could share a photo, a story, or some facts about mental health. So there's a few things there. If you've got a little bit more time and you want to put in a little bit more effort, there's a few other things. So you might write a blog or make a video about your experiences of mental health or experiences of someone in your family or your friends. You might create a social media tile that you and your friends can share, a tile or a filter. So there might be an image with some information on it that you want to share with people in a really engaging way. And then if you've got sort of quite a bit of time and you really want to dedicate a lot to undertaking advocacy online, you can bring all that together and you might start a campaign or a social media account to post regularly about mental health and do it in a coordinated way. So one really good page that I absolutely love is called Sad Girls Club. I put it down here. And it's basically, it started as an Instagram page for young women of color to talk about mental health and their experiences. And it's grown into a multi-platform campaign, which has a lot of different ways that young people can get involved. So yeah, there's just a few examples and we can talk a little bit more in question and answer at the end. So I'll just run through this really quickly. These were just some other options outside of social media for doing advocacy. So in terms of events, events are a great way to raise awareness about mental health and get people talking about it. So I've got here conversations. This is a really simple one. So sometimes advocacy is just about the one-to-one or having small groups of conversations and raising awareness that way. So it might be that you just organize a conversation with 5 of your friends. And in that conversation, the main thing is just to talk about mental health and say that this is a really big issue in our community and we should talk about it, we should call it out. You have webinars or live streams, so you might jump onto a webinar and talk about the impact of mental health in your community. You could have a panel discussion, so invite some community leaders or some experts in the field to come and be on a webinar with you and ask them some questions like what's important in mental health? How can we help? What can we be doing? You can run a workshop to upskill people in things like advocacy or use all the stuff that you've learned in this program and pass it on to others. You can run little sessions like that. Or you could do something cool, like a fun event, like trivia or like a talent show. And the focus is just be on raising awareness. So talk about mental health as you do something really fun. And have people come for the entertainment and then learn about mental health while they're there. So there's events, speaking to community leaders. So you might, for example, petition, change.org is a really great website for starting a petition or signing a petition. There's lots of petitions for mental health. And some of these have a really big impact. If they get thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of signatures, they can really get the attention of community leaders to make change. You might write to your local representative. So you could send a letter or an email, or you could go on to Twitter and send a tweet, for example. And there's a few other things you can do there as well. And then I'll go through because I know we're running out of time. So the last thing you can do is find others who are already doing advocacy and join them. So there are lots of fantastic organizations out there. Again, I'm sure you've heard from some already, and Shaun's probably shared some with you. You can volunteer with existing organizations. You can participate in conferences, fellowships, other programs like this. And then, yeah, you can promote other campaigns. So yeah, that's just a really quick run through. If you have questions, let us know and we can answer in the last bit, but I'll kick it over to Alla now to give us some examples of young people doing advocacy.
Thanks so much, Andrew. It sounds like there's no shortage of things for us to do.
Not at all. Many opportunities to get involved.
Thanks.
Yeah,
thanks for
even
the
in
message.
isolation.
Even in isolation. Yes.
Exactly.
Ella, over to you, please. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Shaun. And thanks, Andrew. Yeah, great to be here. Hi, everyone. I'm Ella. And I'll just run through a few sort of case examples of advocacy in action with young people. And then we'll go to the Q&A. So if you have any questions that you think of, feel free to pop them in the chat. Yeah, so the first example that I have here is we have an Origin Global Youth Mental Health Advocacy Fellowship. Little plug here, I guess. we're probably having our second fellowship open up in December. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. And basically what it is we have 12 fellows who are learning all about advocacy and youth mental health. They're 12 amazing young people from all around the world. So from Kenya to Zimbabwe, Colombia, Mexico, Afghanistan, and they've all got a project in mind, advocacy project, and we're supporting them to do that through a range of different skills and knowledge. And recently it was World Mental Health Day just last week. And one of the things that they did was film a video at their home, wherever they were, because yeah, everyone's in a different country. So we obviously can't do anything together. So this is certainly something that could be done when you're in lockdown or isolation. But they filmed a video on the topic of mental health in an unequal world, which is the topic of this year's World Mental Health Day. And then we put that together to have sort of a 4-minute clip and put that on social media. So I guess that's just inspiration and a bit of an example of what you could do with even just a few friends or a few connections that you have that are also interested in mental health. Even just filming a quick video on your laptop or your phone and sort of stitching it together with other people can be really effective. And I've put the links in here just so that you can watch it another time. Thanks, Andrew. That's perfect. Next slide. The next thing is moving more towards a blog. So yeah, a blog is another option that you could do from home. And we have a number of Origin Global Youth Advisors, 2 of which are Zofia and Fatima Zara, and they both have blogs. One of them is called Traveling Psychologist. She is a psychologist and she travels a lot. And so it's a mental health blog, and she talks all about her experiences, reflecting on different topics of mental health, embracing change with the isolation and breaking down stigma. And I think that's a really good example of, even just one person, you can make a blog and you don't know how far it will go. And she also invites guest writers as well. So you can see here, well, you probably can't actually because it's so small, but the one that I've screenshot here is by someone called Alleviate. She's from South Africa. She's another one of our youth advisors. And so she's invited her friends to submit blogs. It ends up being a collective effort, which is really exciting. And then on the right-hand side, Fatima Zara's blog, she's a poet. So she actually uses poetry for her mental health advocacy. And I think that that's a really exciting, innovative way to do advocacy. It doesn't have to be this sort of academic. It can be really creative. It can be photos. It can be poetry. It can be anything you want it to be. And that's another really good example of advocacy in action. Next slide, Andrew. Thanks. And so, yeah, moving to another example, more on that creative side, is there's an organization in Canada called jack.org, and it's a youth mental health organization. And they're really, really big on, using these creative methods for advocacy. And so during lockdown, they hosted an online music mental health event called Jack Music. And they invited some musicians, and they had a talk with them about mental health. This one here was really interesting. They had a discussion about her own lived experience of borderline personality disorder and facing stigma, and then proceeded to have some music. So it was a really great way of, still having a really good conversation, breaking down stigma, raising mental health awareness, but, engaging people through music and other things like that. And I've again added the link, so feel free to check that out. Next slide. And then just a couple of examples of a couple of like content creators, influencers, I'm not sure what you want to call them, but from social media that I really like. On the left is Blair Amani. She's from the US, and she is a Black bisexual Muslim woman who does these really beautiful clips. She calls them Smarter in Seconds. And so this was just, she did this by herself. She decided to start a new sort of series, I guess, where she films these 15-second clips called Smarter in Seconds, and she picks a topic for each one. So she's done a 15-second clip on pronouns. And so in 15 seconds, she educates people on what pronouns are. And then the next one might be on depression. And so in 15 seconds, she gives people accurate information on what depression is. And that's a really, really quick and fairly easy way of, doing mental health awareness advocacy from home. And it's been incredibly successful. She's got, almost 500,000 followers now, and is really well known. And then on the right, Jazz Thornton, she's a really well-known TikTok mental health advocate. And she does a lot of sharing her own stories and her own struggles from the past, but also to spread messages of hope and celebrating other people's success with mental health and raising awareness of different conditions and how to take care of yourself. So again, a really good example of mental health advocacy on social media. And then the next one. And I just popped this in here. I know it's not very COVID friendly because it is, again, one of those things that you probably would want to do in person, but just from my own experience, I mean, a couple of these photos, I used to be a youth advocate for Headspace. So I think I started there when I was 21, a couple of years ago. And on the left, so there's a photo from a football fundraiser that we had. So we organized, the youth advocates, we all got together and we organized a football event where we got some players together. We tried to get lots of bystanders to come and watch. Everyone sort of donated a gold coin donation to watch, but also, we offered the option of people donating more. We had some food trucks so that there was food available, and it was just a really nice, community event. We weren't explicitly talking about mental health, but, it was able to raise money for the organization. And then the one on the bottom, the photo there is just from a trivia night. So again, we weren't talking exactly about mental health concepts or anything like that, but it was just a way of getting people together to support mental health, have a fun night, and raise money for the organization. So they're two really good ways, and relatively easy when you have a group of people involved. It's not a one person thing. It definitely needs to be a community effort, but even just a group of 5 or 6 of you can get involved. So they're just a few examples. There's so many more that we could talk about, but hopefully that sort of inspires you about a few different things that you might be able to do. And I think we'll go back to you, Shaun, for some Q&A. Wow,
Really exciting stuff, especially the 2 influencers that you have. Can't wait to check them out. And I've written so many notes from the 2 of you. I think that before we go on, let me open to the floor. I see that there's a lot of questions, a lot of interest in your conversation. Does anyone want to hop on to ask the first question?
I have a question.
Yes, Imuni. Or is it Imuni or Farah?
Farah.
Farah, please.
Hi, hello. So my question is more on the use of social media as a platform for advocacy. So the thing with social media is that the prevalence of misinformation in social media is a huge problem, and people often glamorize mental health issues such as having depression and having anxiety, and they also do this thing where they self-diagnose themselves without actually getting professional help. So it's obviously impossible to monitor what kind of information people put out there and share with others, but what can we do as mental health advocates to make sure that they're getting information from the right and correct source so that they don't continue to endanger themselves? That's my question. Yes.
It's a fantastic question, and I think now more than ever, it's a really important question during the times of COVID and with certain experiences we've had in the last several years about how misinformation flows on social media. And I think we've been facing that in Australia and at Origin, and these questions we've discussed. And I think one of the most simple things that we can be doing is giving people credible sources of information and sharing those sources of information. So even for an organization like us, Origin, who in Australia are very highly regarded We make sure that when we post something, we credit it to a source. Often in Australia, it might be a government source, because that's very credible here. It might be different in different countries. International organizations such as the World Health Organization, for example, are always very credible. So I think that's the starting point, is making sure that you're sharing credible sources of information. And then I think you know that if you're getting information from credible sources, that information is going to be accurate, or as accurate as you can be. And I would say putting that information out there is, because you're almost in a competition for providing information, aren't you? So there's a lot of people out there that are providing inaccurate information, and you have to combat that with accurate information. And so sometimes that's about you going out there, making sure that your information is very accurate, getting it from credible sources, and then putting it out there in an engaging way that is going to get more airtime than the inaccurate information. So I don't know if Ella has anything to add.
Yeah, I think it's really about amplifying the sound of that credible information, and calling out the misinformation when you can, if it's safe to do so. If it's a friend that that you can have that discussion with and they would take it on board, then great. But if it's a public board that you might end up getting lots of abusive comments in replies, then maybe not. But I think it's just important to really, on your personal pages or whenever you're personally putting your voice forward, really using those credible sources. And yeah, if you can, having reference to those types of organizations that I've popped in the chat that, generally are very highly regarded, and you can trust. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does, but there are still a lot more questions when it comes to social media. So there's definitely no way of completely combating it, but it's good to know that there's still something that we can do.
Yeah, I think it's always going to be a challenge. Like, we're never going to be able to get rid of misinformation. It's really tricky.
It is. But have you ever?
No, go for it. I'll answer. Yeah, I was just going to say that this is, just quickly, and then I'm interested to hear what you say. I think one of the things is that whether it's misinformation or a competition of ideas, different ideologies, different politics, one of the things about advocacy is you are in this competition, and you're trying to win people's attention. And so there's never going to be, whether it's online or at the town hall forum or in Parliament, there's never going to be a situation where everyone is agreeing on whether it be the source of the information, or even like if they believe that's the right way to approach things. So I think part of this is just saying that I'm going to back myself, and I believe that I'm doing this for the right purpose. I've done my research, and I'm going to try and win the argument here. I'm going to try and win the discussion, and that's advocacy at its core.
I have a follow-up question, but if other people have other questions, I'd rather leave it to them first. So, okay, then I'll ask. So I was just curious, sorry. I was just curious if you have ever had a situation where somebody comes up to you with this misinformation, and you have had to convince them or to try to divert their ideology to something that is more accurate. So if you have any experience, we'd love to hear some.
Yeah, look, I don't know if this is as relevant as, I haven't really had someone, walk up to me on the street, because I guess it's not obvious that I'm a mental health advocate when you look at me, but I've certainly dealt with those types of conversations with family, particularly older members of the family that, have very different views of what mental health is. And that's been like a really ongoing conversation that I've had. And I've made a lot of progress, which is great. But I think, and I'm not sure what it's like where you are, but for at least in my situation, my family just didn't think of mental health as being a legitimate, illness. And so that's misinformation. So I did try to, really tackle it with evidence. And there's, we've got so much evidence now to really back that. Obviously, family is very different to, say if you were dealing with someone on the street, but I've certainly had that encounter. How about you, Andrew?
Yeah, definitely. I have a lot of this in my life, whether it's about mental health or more often politics and different political positions. And I think the thing that I find really useful is trying to empathize with the perspective that people have first. So understanding where they're coming from, because often it's not because they don't want to believe in the truth, or they sort of disregard evidence, but it's just they've had different experiences in life. And so I think Ella's example of parents in an older generation is a really good one, because I think in Australia, and I think it's the same in a lot of parts of the world, mental health was not even a concept for many of our parents. And so for them, they have never understood it. And so I think often for me, the start of the conversation is, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I hear you. I hear that, you know, mental health was not really a thing for you, or I hear that you've got a different political opinion to me, and I really understand that. My perspective is that there's pretty strong evidence that mental health exists and that it is having a really big negative impact. I'd love to share some information with you if you'd be open to it. And I think coming from a place of empathy and having a constructive and non-threatening discussion is the way that I've always found most helpful. Because I think if we get into this trying to tear each other down, as often happens on social media, as our chat, people get defensive and close down.
Well said, Andrew and Ella. I mean, empathy and evidence-based, support. Ella, I was just wondering, how successful have you been with your parents?
Really successful, actually. Really successful.
Okay.
It's taken a few years, but I think the conversation has definitely changed, and I'm sure it's probably similar there. I think COVID has actually really helped, because everyone has been forced to sit inside and reflect and probably think about things that if they were busy with their normal lives that they might not have considered. And everyone has been going through, like, this isolation is a collective trauma. That's exactly what it is. And so, you know, people are grappling with their mental health, perhaps people that have never really had to grapple with it before. And so it's suddenly a concept that people are going, oh, well, okay, this is real.
Well, there's a good window of opportunity for us to really get in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you mentioned something about your global initiative with members from around the world. How can our young advocate in Brunei, who are extremely enthusiastic in wanting to be a part of the movement, how can they be a part of it? Can we join the party?
Yes. So there's a couple of things that I will mention. So the fellowship is fairly, so this is our first one that we've just run. It's finishing up in November, and we will be opening up for a second cohort of fellows for expressions of interest and application in December. So I'll definitely share that with you, Shaun, so that you can circulate it to everyone on this call. But the other thing I'd like to mention is that there's a group called GMAN, which stands for Global Mental Health Action Network, got it. And it is a global group of not just young people, but, you know, mental health professionals and people that are passionate about mental health. And I really encourage you to join that. I'm happy to send you through some information in the link, Shaun. And within that, there's actually a child and youth working group. So it's a specific group for, talking about the mental health of young people. And then within that, there's now also another group called the Youth Engagement Group. So there's a couple of opportunities there to be involved, specific to youth mental health and then specific to youth engagement as well. So yeah, definitely keen to share the details of that so that you can join.
This is amazing. Just tapping into the two of you, we get access into so much resources. I think you have saved us so much time.
Good. I'm glad. It is a really, because you get to meet lots of other people. So yeah, that's great.
Ella and Andrew, I'm mindful that, we're tapping into your dinner time. Perhaps I would ask for one more question before we'll let you go.
Shaun, I just wanted to say, because there was a question in the chat before about participation. And I just wanted to touch on that one really quickly. And then if there's one more, but I think for us to get a lot of participation at events or activities, one thing that's really helpful is if we want it to be something that's focused on young people, for example, is making sure young people are involved in designing that event or activity. So often when we're thinking about that project, we'll say, well, we should bring some young people into our office to talk about what that's going to look like, and they'll help us design it. So if you're running a campaign, or if you're running an event that's focused on parents, for example, maybe you can ask some parents, like, what would you find engaging? What would you find helpful in this? Or the same with politicians or community leaders. So that's really helpful, to get some engagement. And then, I mean, there's a lot of other things, but simple language, simple messaging, clear language, these things always really help. So yeah, there are a few things. Ella, I don't know if you have one.
That's a great.
Yeah, I was just
Ella,
oh, sorry. Just commenting, I guess, that if I'm just thinking of, potential projects or advocacy that you might do. If it was something, say, at school or in your local community, and it was young people designing it, like a bunch of you, then talking to your friends, like spreading the word through social media, spreading it through your school. I don't know if there's like a newsletter or something like that, kind of just spreading the word through your networks, and then hopefully organically it will spread to lots and lots of other people that are around in the same group. And something that I've always found has helped, at least in Australia, actually no, everywhere I've been in the world, this has always helped. Having food always really helps. People love food, so they will normally come if there's food. So yeah, putting that on the marketing as well, I find is helpful.
Food and marketing, everyone hear that loud and clear. Right, I know you are hungry, it sounds like it. Any final question, guys? All right, I would like to invite Peter Honey, if he's still around, to say hello and provide a final remark. We are heading into our after party, to conclude 4 weeks long of training in becoming a mental health youth champion. So I think that the two of you being here and giving us so many tips has been a fitting conclusion to this event, and we cannot be any more grateful than we are right now. So thank you so very much. Is Peter there? Does Peter want to say something?
I'm here. Thanks, Shaun.
Hi.
Thanks to Ella and Andrew for a really great presentation. And thanks to all the participants over the last 4 weeks for what's been, really excellent. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot from everyone's contributions. I learned earlier that because I'm Gen Y, I'm now considered old, which was a big surprise for me. But you learn something new every day. This is the start of engagement. We've done a lot of work this year in mental health, and we want to keep moving it forward. So, looking forward to seeing what everybody does in the future. And thanks to you, Shaun, for delivering what's been a really, really excellent event.
Thanks. So the party starts now. Feel free to join us, but I know you're hungry. We look forward to keeping in touch, Ella and Andrew. Everyone, big clap.
Thank you for having us, and enjoy your party.
Yeah, thanks guys, really appreciate it. See you later.
All right,
bye.
See you. Bye-bye. Wow, I know that Dr. Kartini is in our midst. I think she has just come back. So welcome, Dr. Kartini. It's really nice to have everyone here. So we have concluded our 4 weeks long of learning of mental health, and there had been no shortage of wonderful speakers, and among you guys, you guys are all experts in your own right. So I look forward to have all of you as representation, of the mental health youth champions to the community. I don't know how a virtual party is going to work. Let me be extremely honest. But I think that it is important that we celebrate this important milestone by hanging around. And since we have Dr. Kartini back in the room, we can have a nice chit chat with her. Dr. Kartini, I just want to mention that we did a little survey before people register, and one of the questions we asked is how many of you would like to be a mental healthcare provider in the future, and the response have been very quite overwhelming, extremely overwhelming. And I just want to ask you, right, given our current circumstances, is this not the greatest career to get into in terms of
Oh yes,
employment?
absolutely. Yes, yes, please.
So, shortage in supply?
Yes, yes. Oh my goodness, yes, yes.
Yeah, what does it take to be you?
Hard work, yes. First of all, but no. The first thing is just compassionate. Like you are quite in tune with people's emotion, sympathetic, empathic, and you are interested in mental health. Okay, and it's quite a lot of special people to enter the world of psychiatry, the world of mental health, the world of psychology, the world of medical, social worker, the people who provide, even, the occupational therapist, yeah, everyone in our industry, in terms of the Ministry of Health industry, is that people who provide, people who have compassion about other people. So yeah, that's the most important thing. And niat is good. Yeah, your what's within your heart. Yeah, it's very important.
Compassion and a heart for service.
Yeah. Yes.
That's wonderful. Let's have a free flow. So the rule of the game here is, this is a party. So I'm gonna change my backdrop so you can see my food. So feel free to enjoy and take on any conversation at all. Perhaps I can start with a few talking points. One of which being is, what has been the aha moment for you, over the last 4 weeks. I think that would be something, to me personally, I learned something that was quite new to me last week. I used to call people who contemplate suicide, I used to call that as stupid. And I learned that, your word has power, and do not simply use that kind of word, because it does make, a negative impact. So I have since learned that. So what about you guys? What have you learned that, that changes your point of view? So as you can see, I've got some fruits and some nuts here.
Don't tell Dr. Malik I'm eating this.
Yeah. Did you want to say something, Dorcas?
It's like, don't tell the dietitian I'm eating Hello Panda.
Hey, Nasri, you have a baby in front of you. What's his name?
Hi, I'm Shar Muzaffar. Say
Shar
hello.
Mustafa.
Hey.
So the future psychologist. Training young. He has a head start in life. So, guys, does anyone have an aha moment that you want to share that changes your worldview, changes your perspective?
I have one.
Yes, Asha.
So it's actually from today. Like, I learned that there is so much that you can do to be a mental health advocate, and that there's no excuse to say like, oh, I can't do this because I don't have that. Like, because you have so many opportunities to become a mental health advocate. Like, you don't have to even organize in-person events, like huge events. You can just do something small, even like having a virtual activity with your friends. So that was really my most important point that I took.
You know what to add to that, right, Asha? It doesn't even need to be a mental health related stuff. as long as there is positive, healthy activity that takes people's mind away from thinking negative stuff that would spiral themselves down, is a positive, right, Dr. Kartini? I am very mindful that I have a doctor in our midst, so I have to make sure that I don't simply prescribe.
No, it's all right. It's okay. I do agree with that. It's just, yeah, with your theme, okay, Kakita, are you okay? So like those question is quite powerful. It's really powerful. Yeah. Just a simple question like that make people open to what's inside of their mind, what's inside of their heart. Okay. So that's, yeah, just when you feel alone, like if you put yourself on their shoes, when you feel alone, when you feel in a dark place, if one person think that seems to be caring for you, think, are you okay? So you feel like, oh, okay, someone's asking me this question. So those are the things, you're giving a light to them. So that's the most important thing. Not only just, yeah, I do agree with Arsha, you don't have to do all those big events and everything. You just one simple thing. That's it. One simple gesture. Just maybe you give a smile to a person who's sad, so they will just smile back at you. There's a very simple things to do. Right?
Kartini, just now Andrew mentioned something that was an aha moment for me. When you talk about something small, it reminds me, he said something about, simply responding to a message or liking a message on social media can make an impact. And a lot of times, in order to look cool, we are so garried, right? So stingy with our like or our love, our praise, right? And I'm not sure how many of you have done that. You accidentally like something and then you quickly unlike it. So if you're one of those person, right? I'm talking to you. See, so you have no idea. To a lot of people who never had anyone liking a photo that they share, having someone positively enforcing, telling them that, hey, I see you, right, and liking it can make someone's day. Correct, doctor?
Yes, the problem is sometimes people mindset that people who posting something in social media, they said, oh, it's like, oh, gila attention nih, just creating attention seeker. So people doesn't want to like that photos, but actually deep inside, for people you think is attention seeker, they are sometimes lonely person, sometimes they are very alone. So by you liking them, you feel like, oh, okay, someone's liked my thing. So those kind of things are positive things. Like you need to create a positivity in your mindset as well. Don't just say, oh, attention seeker. You just need to think about, this is positive things I do today. So those are the things you need to create every day of your life. That if you feel, you're creating a good feeling for other people, you feel good as well. So that's part of your mental health self-care tips as well. You give a smile to person.
This is so well said, Dr. Kartini. I want to introduce you to a great philosopher, Dorcas Fu. Who echo exactly what you said yesterday in our presentation.
Oh,
great! I'm really on the edge with this, Dr. Kartini, because, like you said, right, we want to create a positive environment for them, but at the same time, I don't want to enable that behavior. I don't want them to feel like, this is the only way for me to get attention. Like, where do I draw the line?
Well, in social media, where do we draw a line? That's the question that we need to ask ourselves. If your thinking is, I just want to create boundaries, so that's why I don't want to like this photo of this person. Attention seeker. But to what extent you wanna do that? Because in your life you create a boundary, right? If your everyday face-to-face interactions with your friends, with your families, you create a boundary to a certain extent. But for a social media, why would you like to create that boundary? Social media is such a kind of a very gray area, but it's up to you to create your own boundary to yourself. Because if you want to create your boundary for all the pictures that posted by your friends or that this attention seeker, so until what extent you want to stop liking those pictures?
that pictures are posted for a reason. I want to show you what's happening to my life. So those are the things that you need to think, from different perspective rather than as I said, rather than negative perspective. I know, like people said, oh yeah, I don't want to reward their behavior by liking the photo. But if you think to other, side of the flip coin, that you said, oh, so it will create them depression, create them more distress in their life, overwhelm their feelings. So by creating that like button, like, it would be good feeling for them. So might be, I think, the mindset as well for us. Creating the boundary in the social media is quite challenging at this moment. But if you feel that you like the picture, like the picture. If you don't like the picture, don't like the picture. So that's your choice as well.
Let's
Right?
not complicate things.
Yeah.
Dr. Kartini and Dorcas, the two of you joined us slightly late. Dorcas, in response to your statement that you made yesterday on what Dr. Kartini said, we actually played a video before the start, which I have posted it on the chat room right now once again. So I will encourage the both of you to copy this video and play it at your own time. I want to do something slightly different here because, we're good friends with Radhan, Dorcas, Asha, Aimuni, who have been extremely vocal, and there are other players who are in the room that we have not really hear from. For example, Wadia, is quite a poet. Wadia, I want to ask you two things, right? Number one is, what do you do to manage your stress, especially right now during COVID-19, if at all that you are stressed? Number two is, what have been your aha moment?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh. So I used to be someone who actually really is, I actually can't cope with stress that well before this. So recently I've just tried to ease my mind by watching a lot of things that entertain me. And also from today we had the active activity where we dance and we talk. I do a lot of dancing. Actually, I have lots of dancing workouts and routines every day. So that's how I try to cope with my stress. And rather than that, I also have I usually record myself talking to the camera a lot.
And
So
you're very good with that. You are excellent.
yes. The aha moment that I had received, that there's actually a lot. I never knew that we have a community in Brunei where we talk about mental health in a really flexible way, because before this it was kind of I wasn't actually exposed to it, and I didn't know that actually I had that kind of problem as well this year. So I didn't actually have a lot of help from a lot of people. And since I was more open to it, then everybody kept asking me, like, recently and before this, like, Nisha, are you okay? Are you doing right? Like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm not the person I used to be anymore, because I'm more open to the topic now, and I'm more flexible about it. And now people are talking about mental health more openly, and I'm really happy about that.
Wow, you that statement alone has made all the organizing worth it. So thank you so much. We we have not heard from anyone from the counseling participants. So perhaps Pengiran Haja Fatria, thank you for joining us. I love your backdrop. You're really in the party mood right now. Please share with us, your main takeaway in the last 4 weeks.
Well, basically, first of all, I want to applaud everyone. You guys are so amazing. I mean, this is what we want the youth to be today, to be heard. Okay, and also Shaun, what I learned myself from this participant, that they're actually aware of what is actually going on around them. But one thing for sure, not be too what do you call that? Engage with those social media news and everything. Like myself at the moment, how I keep in touch with my students. I have like nearly thousands of students, right? I don't really post stuff in IG. I had a good platform with them. I use Telegram channel. I put it different levels, and that's how I actually interact with them. Whatever I post on anything, including doa or any quotes or any advice or anything about mental health and so on. From there, they can also comment on it. And I also, from what I learned from you guys as well, I take points and also share with them. Also, how I check in with my students. This is very important.
Wow.
Use Google Forms, and I also do for my clients, right? Because I have clients from school, I have to be in touch with them. We do telecounseling. So last week, or just last week, yeah, I had a counseling with my client. At first, he hesitated to speak to me because it's not easy for him to speak to me for such a long time, right? So once he took hold of me, hear my voice, oh my God, he expressed everything because he's confused whether he's stressed or depressed. So from there, we had a good talk, and he's so good about it. So I think for sure, like what Dorcas have mentioned just now, and most of you, as simple as a simple gesture or message, say hi and everything, like what Dr. Kartini has said, really means a lot to your friends. So, like what you want to post on social media, of course, we always advise as students, think before you post and think before you want to comment. So, ada kan all those AITI guidelines and everything, because sometimes we ourselves become overthink when we want to post or whatever. So now that you guys are going to be the ambassador to your institution, your school or colleges, do it in a proper way. Get your focal people, right, to work with you, and also your target students, your target friends. So they feel that they're being cared and loved like that. I hope I said something for all of you. Well done, you
Very,
guys.
very important.
Yeah.
I am just curious, right? We have had a chance to listen to a lot of young people each week, and it has provided me so much insight into the mind of the young people. How has this been an experience for the fellow counselors? Just now Pangeran Fatria mentioned something about going back and applying some of the insight right away. I'm just curious from other counselors, does it give you a fresh new perspective, or does it reinforce what you already know? Perhaps Mr. Nasri can comment on it.
Hello, Shaun, can you repeat what was your question? Sorry.
Yeah, sure. So from the counselor's point of view, having this insight into the voices of the young people and their perspective on mental health and all the research that they've done, does it reinforce what you already know, or does it add a layer of new perspective to you counselors? So perhaps yourself, Nasri, and anyone who is a counselor can address this.
Okay, I think we as a counselor, we might be expert in one thing, but from what I attended from the participants, I think they are well read on so many.
Very well read.
Very well read, and they are I learn a lot from them as well. So it's two-way, not only they are learning from us, but we are learning from each other, and that's good.
Wow, that is great to hear, and it's so refreshing to hear. You know, I would regard counselors as teachers as well. You know, to hear that, hey, the teachers are nowadays learning from the students. I mean, that's beautiful. Is there any other counselors in the room that would like to add any more on that remark?
Shaun, I bet they're gonna miss this because every week these youth are looking forward for this program. Because they also have discussion among them, right? So that's why
they're well equipped.
Well
So
equipped.
much work being put in.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. Sadia, welcome. What are your thoughts?
Hello, Sir Shaun, and hi, everyone. I've been following up for 4 weeks, and I don't have a question to answer, but let's make it general. Something very important that I've got from this 4 weeks, I could say, is that when we're approaching someone, when we're trying to help someone, there's always that one fear or hesitation for us, you know, if for example, they'll ask us, what do you think I should do? Okay, it's technically asking us like solution, you know. We're usually scared, you know, what we say might, you know, not help them. But from these presentation, from talks, I understand and I realize that to be mental health, you champion, you don't need to give them a solution. It's like you just need to be there for them. You just need to show them love. You're not solving their problems, but you're just helping them. So this is one of the biggest thing I think I get from this 4 weeks.
This is so true. I mean, I personally think that these 4 weeks has taught me one thing, and one thing that is so important: how to be a better person. You know, it's got nothing to do with mental health. If we all exercise being a better person, kindness, I think we would have helped solve a lot of problems.
It was really more on to helping others. It wasn't just like just being us, but being for others as well. So,
Absolutely. Naziha Ibrahim, hi, good afternoon. Like to hear from you. Anything that you want to share?
Hi, Shaun. And hi, everybody. Okay, so basically, what I can conclude right from this 4 weeks of us being together in this sharing session, I noticed that for me, it's not about what you tell people, it's about how you tell people, like how you approach, because that actually makes such a difference in helping everybody. Yeah.
So the sincerity from the heart.
Yeah. Yes. Obviously.
Well said. Aliyah, hey, good afternoon. Would you like to make any comments or observations from these 4 weeks? You know, is there anything? Is there anything that struck you?
To be honest, everything I wanted to say has already been mentioned. So I don't really think there's anything for me to say, but I'm really, really grateful to be part of this program. I've learned a lot.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Now, I don't want to be picking on people. Anyone who would like to express something, you know, let's make it a free flow conversation. Susie, yes.
Hello, Shaun, and hello, everybody.
Susie, are you a counselor?
Yes, I'm a counselor from Matap Science.
Welcome.
Hello. Yeah, this past few weeks, we had shared about mental health talk with our students as well, because after they had exams, so we understand that how their situation, you know. So what I learned from my students as well, how they cope with their mental health during the process of the exams is that they do creative activities, and that's what I saw just now, group 4, they mentioned about creative activities like dramas, playing games, you know, something like to do with music, arts, and so on. So one of these students said, it's trial and error. It's not just what being given. For example, for your mental health, you should do this, this, and that. But then sometimes you need to find your passion on the activities creatively, something like that. Yes. Thank you.
And there's no shortage of creative input from team number 4.
Yes.
And especially when we spoke to Origin, I mean, wow, the ideas is just it's just countless, and I love how they structured it in such a way that it's very easy for you to see, at which juncture you want to attack in terms of your promotion. So I thought that, what I'll be doing is I will be posting the raw video online, and I hope that you all would download it, because we will only be posting it for a week. And the reason being is, there is, we feel that there is a lot of personal information that has been shared in this very sacred forum, that, we want to make sure that you all are adequately protected as well. So it will not be a public link. It will be something privately for this community to learn from and share with each other. But really, the final session had been extremely well put and very strategic. So I will encourage all of you in your individual team, to look at it again, right? Speaking of team, I know that, today is the end of the program, but make sure that you all keep each other, keep supporting each other and keep in touch with one another, because you are going to need each other to march on to this journey. So if one person from one school is creating an activity, everyone within the small team should be a part of it, right? That's how you grow strength and momentum. And if there are 10, there's 10 activities at any one time. So I think it's extremely important that we don't forget that. Yeah, Hisham D, would you like to say something?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Sorry. I'm a bit awkward, to be honest. I don't know how to interact with other people. I'm a bit introverted. Well, I just want to say it's been a long journey since the 4 weeks. This 4 weeks, I've learned a lot, honestly, especially all those statistics, all those informations were given. So I'd like to thank everyone for all of this, for this experience, for this journey. So yeah.
Speaking of the resources, right? For this week's activity, one of the link is a guy standing up to dance, and then everyone started following. Do you all watch that? Right? And being an advocate, being a leader is about dancing stupid, right? And when you are the ugliest dancer and you don't care about it and you keep on pressing on, right? Even though there's no one joining you, as long as you keep on, eventually the second person will come, the third person will come, and then a movement will evolve, right? So, I put that video on for a reason, because I've always been the person that dance alone. And now I have you guys, the fellow crazy people. And it is, being the first one, is so much effort, right? But what we have right now is an ecosystem of people who are extremely enthusiastic. So, the hard yard has been done. Yeah, you are standing on, each other's shoulder. Yeah, and I just can't wait to see your progress. Mazia, anything you want to add on maybe some of the links that you have watched, anything that inspired you? Mazia Adui.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't know what to say since I'm an upper person and actually introvert, but can I tell you about my experience for these 4 weeks?
Yes.
So the journey was like unexpectedly fun because I met lots of people which we never knew each other. And then I spent a lot of time with them and searching all the information and all. And one thing that I loved during these 4 weeks was our virtual game night, and I had a lot of fun with them. And we invited one of our friends, and it was actually very fun.
So there is game night that I'm not privy to join. I'm so jealous.
Big thanks to Arsha too for being our leader, the best leader. Really appreciate her hard work.
For those people who don't know, especially the counselor, Asha is year 11 or year 10 student?
Year 10.
Year 10 students from Chonghua. And she's leading people much older than her. And Asha speaks how many language? I'm gonna put you on the spot, right? You're gonna speak Chinese to us. 你讲华语还可以吧？
还可以啊。
行吗？你的中文好过 Dorcas。
不是啦，我不确定。
Hey Dorcas, it's an open invite for rebut.
No. But Aisha, can you like read and write Mandarin Chinese?
Yeah, I can.
You're better than me.
Yeah, yes, Asha. Sadia, are you a Chinese speaker as well?
No.
Oh, come on. I thought SMSS would have taught you something.
They do teach us for 2 years, but it's not as professional. And
you take out Chinese?
It was compulsory for us for 2 years.
Nice, impressive.
It was cool. It was nice.
Impressive. Who have Yasmin? Yes, sorry, I haven't called your name yet. Please share with us the experience away from the screen. How about the breakout group activities? When you are hosting your own assignment activities, preparing for presentation. What's it like?
It was really fun, especially Arsha leading the group. Actually, I was quite impressive by Arsha because she's younger than me, but she's very organized in terms of leading the group, and she also helped me a lot in doing the presentation. It's like actually the slides, the idea of making the slides is by Arsha, so I just help her to include the contents and points that all. And the best activity we've done so far as a group is the virtual game night, as mentioned by Mazia.
Tell us more about the virtual game. Game night.
Oh yeah, each of us invited our friend, and we did play a game Scribblio, where we drew, and then the others will like guess what we drew like that.
Does it help to gel the bonding exercise between all of you? Your appetite in becoming best friends?
Yeah, we also get to know each other better. Like each of us come from different school, right? So we met different people, and then we get to know each other. And we play another game next time. yeah, we might invite you also if you want to.
I hope I won't spoil your party. Yeah. Hey, DJ Shuif. How you doing, bro? I love your hat.
Thanks. Just decided to dress up a little bit today.
I love your groove as well. I was doing the video editing and I was listening
Yeah?
to you talk many times. And my daughter was listening as well. It's almost like listening to rap music.
Thank you. Although I don't rap, but
Yeah,
that's
you
nice
sound
to
like
know.
you've got the drift, pal.
Hey, thank you.
Have you met many cool friends in this forum?
Oh yes, a lot of people that I have met here are all of them are cool. I'd say all of them are very cool.
Well said. Very diplomatic. What have been your favorite experience?
Oh, that might be a hard one actually, because there's multiple experiences that I find. There are multiple experiences that I find pretty awesome in this whole program. Especially presenting. That gave me a lot of adrenaline.
I remember you saying something along the line of, you have to earn someone's trust.
Oh yes.
You mentioned something about how if you never spoke to that person and all of a sudden you appear to care, you haven't earned the right to tell that person that, hey, something's wrong with you. I thought that is some wisdom there, my brother.
Thanks. It's just something I thought I'd share.
Tell me, are you the Mr. Popular in school?
No.
Wadia is laughing. Is Wadia your classmate?
No. I don't have any classmates here. I do have an
You're
ex-classmate.
from St. Margaret, right?
Yes, I am. I have an ex-classmate in this program. There's someone in this program that's my ex-classmate.
Who is it?
Ifa Rosani.
Okay, is she here?
I am not sure.
Okay.
She probably went. I'm not sure.
Okay, give us a piece of wisdom before I let you go.
Well, let's see. On what?
I don't know.
On what
Tell us
specifically?
something that about mental health that you have learned these 4 weeks that you will take away.
Mental health is a very fragile thing, I'd say. It is a very fragile thing because anything can happen. If you take a look at everything all the points that we've pointed out in the span of 4 weeks, the mental health is something that you cannot trifle with. I'd say it's something very fragile. It's like one of those very very small glasses that you use for, I don't know, those small fancy glasses.
Too fragile, too easy
Very
to do.
fragile. Yes. Anything that happens to it, it will crack or break. You give it a little bit of heat, it will crack. Too cold, it will break.
You see, that's my problem with young people. You see, on the one hand, you don't want to dismiss the importance of mental health, right? On the other, you want to train people to be mentally tough. Now, by being extremely soft and treat everyone as a glass, you're not going to be able to develop them to be, a very strong person mentally.
Yeah.
So where do we strike the balance? Anyone?
Hello? Anyone?
Yes, I'm waiting.
Can I add on to that?
Yes, Asha, our second philosopher.
I feel like it's finding the right balance, not overdoing it, not underdoing it.
Is your parent tough on you?
Sorry?
Are your parents tough on you?
No, they're kind of very understanding because personally in my siblings as well, there has been mental health issues. So they really take this matter seriously. And so even if it's regarding my academics, they don't pressure me in any way. They're like, if you fail, it's okay. There's a lot of more opportunities to succeed. And if I pass, or like if I get like A or A star, they would like how do you say it? They would appreciate me, and then they'll keep encourage me to keep on working harder. Yeah.
I find it very hard to believe that you don't have tiger parents, and yet you are so outstanding.
Thank you, but to be honest, I feel like it's just God's help. He has blessed me with his help. So yeah.
God must be extremely unfair. Rose Asian, can we hear from you, please?
Yeah. Hi, Shaun.
Hey, how you
Hi.
doing?
I'm doing okay, though I'm like stressed out about my end of year exams, but I guess that's fine.
I'm waiting.
How are you doing?
I've been talking 3 hours nonstop. It's like, after each of the session, I just stop talking, right? So I'm towards that cycle already. So you have to help me out, Rose.
I mean, like, I'm trying to ask you questions because, like, you always ask how we're doing, and I think that's unfair that we never ask how you're doing. So, time to talk to you.
Wow, where do I start?
Maybe how was your day, like, so far?
Okay. I'll tell you very shortly about my day, but I'll give you a longer answer on how am I doing right now, presently. It's been a fun day. I spent 2 to 3 hours with my daughter at a waterfall this morning near ISB. So we were jumping in and out of the water. They've been enclosed at home, and that place have nobody, right? So it was a good morning. But right now, as we are talking and as we are ending this conversation very, very shortly, I feel a great sense of pride. To be extremely honest, myself, together with the Australian High Com team, right? When we planned for this, we would not have, in our wildest imagination, have expected a group of really, really driven and dedicated young people who are taking this seriously. So, I came in with the thought that, hey, we're gonna throw out a bunch of activities, homework, not expecting too much, right? And then each week, we are surprised by how seriously you all take it. When you talk about providing homework for people to do in their own accord without any supervision, and remember the first night when we were together, I say something along the line of, I want you to be here because you want to be here. It's got nothing to do with certificate. Because when someone asked about the cert, I was so dismissive of that person. I can't remember the full context, but it's the way I put it was, it's the wrong mindset, right? And each week, over and over, you are here because you want to be here and you want to make a difference. And that is something that that touches my heart so much. So if you were to ask me how am I, my heart is so full. Thanks to you guys.
Oh, that's so sweet. I'm glad that we made you feel that way.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked because I prepared this speech. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, it just came out. I'm just thinking that you guys are. So my only concern is this, yeah. We have a culture of hangat-hangat tahi ayam, whereby we seem extremely excited only at the start, right? While this is a great start, it doesn't prove anything, right? So what gave me so much comfort today listening to team number 4 is that instead of doing it as a theory exercise, they actually go out there and create activities. And I mean, do you remember how detailed they were in tracking each of the finding? You know, I thought that, hey, these guys are, you know, if you were to zoom into my eyes, I was crying, guys. I was crying. Yeah, it's tough love, but hey, it doesn't mean anything. You know, anyone can do great homework, great presentation, right? It is when you are out there changing just one person's life, yeah, that you can come back and tell us that, hey, this has been worthwhile. So whatever you all say would be nice, but it doesn't count, right? It counts only when someone's life has been changed, right? Natsri, your turn.
Yeah, hello.
Hey, do you still want to be a nurse after this, or do you want to be a psychologist?
Oh, that was...
Still a nurse?
I'm not sure, but I guess I'll say a nurse because
you can cry.
That's been
Come
my
on.
dream.
Okay. What's it like being a leader?
It's really fun. I don't really have much to say, but I really love my team because whenever like we have meetings and all that, they're there, and when I can't make it, and they're, long story short, they're very like supportive, and that's just lovely because that's what everyone needs, not just the leader, but the whole team. I even use this as my like to get points to be an MPP. This was my speech, and I remember it. I related my school to it. I was like, okay, being a leader is like, being in MPP, a student council, is like having your spinal cord. It's the backbone for you. It supports you and helps you do your other tasks. So my team was exactly that one. They were my backbone in executing all the tasks and assignments that was given to us. So I want to thank my team and all the other teams there because you guys actually taught me a lot. Very like, I gained so much, and this actually inspired me. You know, as Group 4 was presenting, I was actually, there's so much things like going on in my mind. I was like, oh, maybe after this, I can do this, I can do that, I can do so much things to like promote this. And yeah, thank you very much because they really inspired me. This whole program webinar did.
Well said. Farah, I'm so glad that you joined us because you were outstanding today.
Thank you.
And I love the two questions that you asked. Basically, I was trying to hold myself from commenting it, but you say what has been in my mind, that mental health has become the new black for the young generation. It's almost the new cool thing to be talking about. Hey, I have depression, or hey, I have mental health issues, right? People like Simone Biles does it. Naomi Osaka does it. It's like, hey, don't bother me, right? I'm having mental health issues, right? So I'm so glad that you brought it up.
I think it was mostly thanks to all the great presenters.
because if it were not for them, those questions would have not come up. And I think it was really insightful that they brought those things up first. So they gave out a lot of good content in which we were able to learn from. So it's really thanks to them.
What has been your biggest takeaway?
My biggest takeaway is probably understanding that I'm not alone in this journey, because I have problems with expressing things that I have difficulties with. So when it comes to my own headspace and my mental health, it's a lot more difficult to express. But somebody mentioned along the way, I forgot which week it was, but it struck me a lot, is that you can help yourself by helping others. And that was something that I did not think of before. Is that
Filling your own cup, right?
Yeah, that one, the cup.
Steph,
Because
I
sometimes
think
you
it
have
was
to
Steph,
keep,
right?
yes, you have to keep your cup full, but sometimes you don't know how to. So when you're helping other people keeping their cup full without realizing it, you're also learning from that experience. So you're helping them while helping yourself. And I can learn from that, because when they're expressing their troubles, I can relate with that. And all of a sudden they're putting into words the things that I never thought of. And it's a wonderful experience, because at that moment you realize that, hey, maybe I'm not alone this journey, and that it's okay, I don't know how to express it, because someone's out there with these feelings and I can relate to them. And they just need to know that I can feel that too. So that was my biggest takeaway.
I just noted that Ben from Australian High Com is still in the room, but you know, his face is nowhere to be seen. Can we call on Ben to say hello? Not like that, Ben. Hey, you dress up so nice, Ben. Oh. Hey guys, let's let's wrap up. We're at 5:35, an hour after. I'm doing overtime here without pay. I'm kidding. Okay, I'll be very reluctant to leave, but does anyone have any final remark that they want to make?
I have one.
Asha, yes.
So, as now official mental health youth champions, let's not take this as the ending point of our mental health youth champion journey. Let's take it as a starting point to continue to prosper and grow and also help others.
That is a fitting final remark. I couldn't have put it better myself. But as we are leaving out, Fateh has joined us. Fateh, come on, say something.
Hi. Yeah, it's been a quite a bumpy road for these past few weeks. I really enjoyed it really well. I'm so glad that this program was in a team as a team. Yeah, I was really grateful for it. Thank you.
Hey Ben, welcome. You want to say something? Or just sign language? Okay, sign language. Okay, can I invite everyone to turn on their camera so we can have a final goodbye, and we take a final group photo. Oh, Peter is here. I didn't realize that. Peter, is there something that you want to say?
Nothing further from what I said before, Shaun, but it's just been great. I've just been listening in, so I've had my camera off, so I didn't appear to be too distracted.
Okay, is everyone here? So guys, join us in giving a big clap to the Australian High Commission team for enabling us to have such a meaningful 4 weeks. Well done, guys, for the idea, for all the support, and for linking everyone from Australia and Brunei to this forum that we can all learn from you. So thanks, Ben. Thanks, Peter, Joe, and Her Excellency, Miss Tiffany McDonald. Okay, now let's take a group photo. And I'll count to 3. Okay, okay. Look at the camera and smile. 1, 2, 3. Okay, wonderful. Thanks so much, guys. Have a very good day ahead, good weekend, and let's keep in touch.
Thank
Bye.
you so much.
I'll be
Thank
the
you,
last
Sean.
to leave.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
so
Team
much.
4 also.
Thank you,
Everyone, bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been an amazing journey. Thank you.
Agree.
Thanks all. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patria. Please say hi to Nana for me.
Will do.
Thank you, Miss
Oh, that's
Suki.
nice to see.
Thank you, Miss
Oh,
Naziha.
nice to see. Looking forward to work with you guys. Bye.
Bye. See you.
See you.